आएगा ना
So, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the meeting of BFSI. So, we have a fantastic speaker today. I'm personally, frankly, I have come meeting for today's session, one of the sessions. So, Rajeev is a chartered accountant from Mason Batch and is currently pursuing his master's from Liverpool John Moores University. He has almost 7 years of experience where he had worked across credit underwriting, product development, and business development roles. He is currently working with Tata Business Hub Limited, wherein he is responsible for building and developing financial services vertical for the company. He has extensive experience in co-lending domain, where he has successfully executed co-lending partnerships with various public sector banks, including SBI, Standard Bank, PNB, etc. And most importantly, he was awarded Collaborator Titan Award and CEO Excellency Award for his effort to develop the co-lending business for his company. This is yours.
Thank you so very much, Anupam.
I would share a few thoughts about roundtables. BFSI and CM pioneering roundtables in ICI have been going on for over a decade at Cufferade and here since inception. So highly interactive roundtables, meet the expert series, and we have a couple of deep dive presentations, half an hour to 45 minutes, sometimes 1 hour, and deep dive interaction from 360-degree perspective on that deep dive topic, and 360-degree reviews, followed up with the open house, where anybody else in the round table can we share who's prepared a topic in advance and supplement the thought process, the discussions, the think tank, so that the best globally. India growth story, we've been contributing to the world, the best talent and the best value system. So that's a part of our process. CFO Perspectives Director series has been going on since the first roundtable when we had a couple of CEOs of listed companies, a couple of CFOs from private sector, public sector. I remember Lodha, Nishak. We had CFO from a private sector bank. Your company has a large investment in it, 2%. And a CFO of a large, which was known to be public sector bank. So that was IDBI Bank. Cufferade, still their offices. Both the CFOs together with me on the panel. And we had the CEO of a top company, which is also listed. And we had the AVP research on BFSI, a lady. We have a so good perspective from ICICI. So then we had a merchant banker also, kind of a thing. And so that roundtable was in the Lodha auditorium. So when it started, so as a founder, it was my idea to involve the senior management and as well as youngsters, because future generation, that's more important. Nandan Nilekani said people below 30 are the best contributors, huh? And it is actually there, right? Huh? So it is people like Rohit, now pioneering in the taking the world in the digital stage. He can contribute anything on that today. Rajeev. So the first meeting he attended last year, I told him be ready. So young person and a senior mature people like Suyash coming and share the same roundtable and open house to supplement. Okay, he has done his best. So we'll come to know what he has done. Even I'm yet to see. But we have to ensure the deadlines are met and the quality is maintained. And usually it is one attends a couple of roundtables and then one there. So one knows the culture. The thing is there. So there are lots of people. Satnam Singh is a former CFO with a top listed company. So lots of people have prepared. So, right, as the panelists themselves decide who will do first, who will do second, but a mandatory open house is there where deep dive will take place, and we just ensure time management on our own as collectively decided. So everybody gets a chance to participate, interact, and can suggest also the topics for the next few. If anybody takes up, all will be accommodated. It's a flexible team, so all the topics are covered, including the latest M&A, including the latest demerger, which has happened since the last meeting, right? That will also be covered, and would like to have all perspectives. So there are $100 million mergers, there are $10 billion mergers also, right? Everything, those will be discussed with deep dive from practical angle, so everybody benefits, right?
Thank you so very much, Manoj sir, Anupam sir, and everyone present here. It's indeed a pleasure to be talking and sharing dais with each one of you. Some of the people on the in the group have experienced more than my age, so it's really a boon for me to be part of this group and be presenting. My topic for today is co-lending. So it's part of the digital lending space which has started, and I'll restrict my my presentation to the co-lending piece of it. So co-lending in India, how it started, what is happening, what is the future outlook. These are some of the points that would be covered in the presentation and in our discussions going ahead. These are some of the discussion pointer which would be going ahead. I would be giving some of the practical examples as well, that how businesses or how companies, large NBFCs and large banks are using this, window by Reserve Bank of India in order to actually facilitate or actually help the end user, which is the MSME. All right. This one slide, which is in front of all of us, if I have to, choose only one slide and talk about co-lending, I would choose this. This basically summarizes everything. It basically, the intention of the regulator, Reserve Bank of India, for coming out with such guidelines is, of course, to help the MSMEs by collaborating the NBFCs and the banks, right? That was the noble intention of the Reserve Bank of India for coming out with such co-lending program. And it has rightly taken on, it was rightly taken on by all the NBFCs and banks across India. There are, a lot of challenges which goes into actually integrating between the two systems, and we'll come to, slides wherein we talk about how these challenges can be overcome. But I think this slide itself, and especially the image, if you see, co-lending is basically two banks or two financiers coming together to help a cause, to help funding of a single borrower or the single applicant. Moving forward, basic introduction. See, co-lending is an arrangement between a bank, wherein the bank at the max has a contribution about 80%, and an NBFC has a minimum contribution about 20%, to entail the joint contribution of credit by both lenders. So these are the, again, these 80% and 20% is as prescribed by the Reserve Bank of India guideline. To have this, there are, mergers, or there are transactions, or there are partnerships happening outside these guidelines norm, which have different ratios in themselves. But as prescribed by Reserve Bank of India, 80-20 is the ratio in which it actually happens. It also involves sharing of risk and rewards between the max, right? 80% is the max, which means that banks can contribute, say, 70% also, and NBFC is contributing 30% also. That can also happen. But generally, if you see of all the co-lending arrangement which has happened, 99% would have been in this ratio, because the cost of fund advantage for banks is much higher, right? And the higher share that they'll have, the better it is for the end borrower. And I'll come to that slide as well. I've done a rate advantage calculation as well. Coming on the second point, RBI detailed out the process of co-lending via its first circular on co-origination, which was dated 21st September 2018. So that is roughly 5 years back. The first circular from RBI came into picture, and this was the actual, go ahead from the regulator to start or to have such kind of arrangement formally in India. This circular encompasses the lender funding the applicant on each facility level. So, there are a lot of bankers also in the group and in the discussion today. What essentially happens is that as per the circular one which came in, which was the 2018 circular, there was a facility level arrangement. Now, by facility arrangement level means, for example, if the borrower wants to borrow, say, 20 lakh rupees, on each level, there would be contribution from bank and there would be contribution from NBFC, which means that 20 lakh rupees chahiye, so 16 lakhs would be contributed by bank, 4 lakhs would be contributed by NBFC, and 20 lakhs would be disbursed, again on case-to-case basis. Now, second client, if he wants 10 lakhs, 8 lakhs contributed by bank, 2 lakhs from NBFC, and that would be contributed to the borrower. However, then there was a revision to this circular, which is the second circular, which came in November of 2020, which details out the process of having a back-to-back assignment of the bank's loan share under the co-lending arrangement. This is more like a DA transaction, the direct assignment transaction without the minimum holding period. So if I have to explain this, very easily or in very layman's word, it's very simple that, for example, an NBFC and a bank has a tie-up. There are mandates given by bank or between the bank and the NBFC. NBFC disburses the money on its own books first. So, for example, this is the month of, say, July, which is going on. For the month of July, NBFC will disburse the loan under this partnership. Whatever is the loan disbursed. So, for example, they end up disbursing 100 crores of loan under this partnership. Next month, immediately, which is the August month, in the first 7 days, the bank does underwriting of all these 100 crore cases and takes over 80% of the books, which means वो 100 crore का 80 crore वापस NBFC में fund हो गया. So इससे क्या होता है? There is a lot of process level efficiency which can be built in the system, which means for each case the NBFC need not coordinate with the bank कि भाई इसको disburse करना है. There are a lot of operational hassles which get solved out, and all this is happening through digital. So that is where new age fintechs, new age NBFCs come into play, wherein they help through technology to facilitate all these kind of lending. So that is the part of the second circular which came out. And I've just given a data point on my last point, which talks about a Financial Times report, which says that the overall co-lending portfolio, and this is with respect to only the public sector banks. Okay, now public sector banks having tie-up with NBFCs is somewhere around 25,000 crore of the overall lending which happens. Okay. Again, these
tie-up or as or not disbursed AUM.
This is disbursed. This is the disbursal value ka AUM. This is the current.
How many
AUM.
PSU banks you said?
There are all the PSU bank are given mandate by the finance ministry to have a mandatory tie-up with some of the NBFC because mandatory tie-up as in because they have to
use the word mandatory.
They have used it's not a direct mandate, but then they have a regular follow-up from the finance ministry to do this. The reason is that banks use co-lending partnership to get more of PSL customers on their books. Every bank has a limit, has a target of having X number of priority sector lending. Whatever lending is done under the co-lending partnership, it contributes under the priority sector lending, and that is the key advantage for banks to come and onboard for this partnership.
So rather than buy PSL certificates, so they do this. But tell me, is there anything documented which uses a word mandatory for PSU banks?
No. So it's not mandatory, but of course, there is a regular. I have been
coercion or whatever.
I've been to banks, large scale old banks, and seen the DGMs having mails from finance secretaries saying कि भाई मेरे को बताओ ये मैंने आपका co-lending में कितना disbursal हुआ. So all those stuff, there's a regular follow-up.
Monitoring is there also.
Yeah,
Monitoring is
regular
there.
monitoring.
They are quantifying, asking for
the
reports.
reason is because government also wants to help the MSMEs, right? And through this mode, what they are trying to do is they are trying to reach out. They are trying to use the reach of NBFCs to give loans to these, small NBFCs.
Incidentally, what's the max amount
Of
co-lending a PSU can do?
So there is no
Practice-wise.
it's practice-wise. It's generally between 50 lakhs to 75 lakhs of unsecured business loan, which happens.
Max 1 CR.
Yeah. On a unsecured business loan. For a secured business loan, it can go up to 5 crores. Now, secured.
You have seen 5 crores?
Yeah. Secured business loan.
In co-lending model.
Yeah. Okay. So it's very simple. I mean, now with the second circular coming in, there are no operational hassles as well, which means it's a portfolio level thing, and then you just have to reimburse that money next month to the NBFCs, and hence there is
circular from?
This is RBI circular.
RBI circular.
Yeah, RBI circular.
You had a reference for that.
Yeah, I have a reference.
One NBFC may have a tie with many banks, right?
Yeah, that is right.
And vice versa, the bank can have a good tie with.
That is right. So Satnamji, the thing is that NBFCs are the distribution channel, right? They would lend to someone, say, sitting in Mumbai. They would lend to someone, just to name, say, someone in Sangli as well. But a State Bank of India to lend in Sangli would require a branch in Sangli, right? Of course, State Bank of India can have it, but the thing is, here they have a higher distribution. Here they have cost of fund advantage, and that exactly is captured on this slide. Which means that why is co-lending important, or why is it such a good thing to have? And what I have tried to do is we usually talk about win-win model, right? This is a win-win-win model which is circulated by RBI, and I have just summarized it for how is it win-win and win model. First is for the customers, okay. Second is for banks, and third is for NBFC. Why is it advantageous to them? For customers, see what happens, and we'll understand. We'll spend some time on this slide. See, for banks, for customers, how the lending happens to them. Okay, banks, if they go to a bank, they would get, say, a loan at 10% at ROI. Okay, say they go to a Central Bank of India for an unsecured business loan or a Udyam loan, Udyog loan, they get at 10%. If they go to a bank, NBFC, they get it at 18%, right? Now, banks would have higher turnaround times, which means that they would ask for bank statement, they would ask for financial statement, they would ask for CMA reports, and so on and so forth. It takes about a month's time. NBFCs, on the other hand, would be ready to take call basis, say the banking statement basis, the bureau history, and all those stuff. Which means that NBFCs are more aggressive.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
2 minutes, no?
No, it's not 2 minutes. It just said 2 minutes, but of course it takes 2 days.
2 days.
2 days.
Practically.
Yeah, practically 2 days to first sanction, because there is, internal credit underwriting. And again, different NBFCs have different norms of doing it. 2 minutes में in principle approval आ जाता है. मतलब आपका basic check करके बताएंगे कि सर आपका 25 लाख रुपए का loan eligibility है.
Subject to.
Subject to, हाँ.
It's not without subject to, no?
No, nothing is without
the
subject
2 minutes
to.
is subject to.
Yeah. So that's how it happens. Now, see, with the co-lending thing, I don't know whether my cursor is appearing. The second line, which takes about loan contribution. So the bank contributes 80%, the NBFC contributes 20%, which means at a weighted average level, the customer gets the same loan at 11.5 or 12%. So the customer जो अगर वो बैंक के पास जाता था तो उसको समय लगता था, अगर वो NBFC के पास जाता था तो उसको ज्यादा ROI लगता था. अब वो NBFC के पास ही आ रहा है, बट NBFC ने बैंक के साथ टाई अप किया हुआ है, तो उसको फास्ट भी मिल रहा है और कम रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट पे भी मिल रहा है.
Weighted average rate.
Yeah, this is the weighted average rate or the blended rate of interest.
Just one thing is very important. The customer pays a weighted average rate, blended rate, we call it.
Correct.
And the PSU gets this same rate, but the person sourcing, originator, gets how much? 18%, or they also get the blended rate?
No, sir. Okay, so this is a very technical question.
And how does it work? Because this is the heart of it.
Yeah, so at the heart of that,
how not a business?
That is exactly the moot point, and that is where a lot of finance startups are coming in. See, it's easier said than done. Now, as appearing on the screen, what happens is customer ने अगर 10 लाख रुपए का लोन ले लिया, मान लो उसको 11.6% इंटरेस्ट लग गया. अब वो नेक्स्ट मंथ EMI पे करेगा, उसको ये बाइफर्केशन नहीं मालूम रहेगा कि मैं कितना इंटरेस्ट भर रहा हूँ, मैं कितना प्रिंसिपल भर रहा हूँ. ही इज पेइंग अ सिंगल EMI.
And to whom?
It comes to NBFC. Okay. Okay. So it comes technically, if you ask very technically, it comes to an escrow account. That escrow account is between me and the lender, the bank and the NBFC. It comes to a collection escrow account, which I've covered in the further slide.
Yeah.
It comes to an escrow account, the full EMI. Now that full EMI is first bifurcated between interest and principal. The principal is distributed in 80-20 ratio, right? जिसका जितना पैसा है वो ratio में लेके जाता है. So for example, in our example, say the EMI is 10,000 rupees. 10,000 rupees escrow में आएगा. On a real time basis, that 10,000 is bifurcated between interest and principal. The principal, say, out of that 10,000 is 8,000 rupees. 8,000 is further divided into 80-20, which is 6,400 goes to bank, 1,600 comes to NBFC. Remaining 2,000 is then distributed in this ratio, which is the 10 and 18 ka ratio, the first ratio. Which means the sourcing partner, the NBFC, ends up getting higher interest, which is the balance interest. The bank ends up getting whatever is the fixed interest out of it.
Customer is aware of this?
So customer को back end में क्या होता है कुछ पता नहीं चलता है. Regulatorily he signs a tripartite agreement. Technically he's disclosed that, boss, we are lending you this. We have a collaboration with the State Bank of India or any of the large NBFC bank.
Is specified?
Yeah, it is specified.
Because sometimes you have got 2 bankers, you have got 8 bankers. So you can write all 8, or you have to.
No,
that,
sir,
that is
but एक facility level
that loan is.
एक facility level पे 8 banker नहीं आएंगे. It is not consortium lending.
Yes.
It's a horizontal lending. So
yes,
consortium lending is basically vertical lending.
Yes.
Which means that I lend, say, someone, it's a large ticket game, which means I lend someone, say, 500 crores, and then I sublend it to.
So it is a specific bank is mentioned in an agreement.
Yeah.
So if you have 8 co-lender banks, so you have 8 drafts ready, depending on that specific one, you give him that.
That's exactly how it happens.
Achha, now this interest rate, what is disclosed to the customer?
Yeah, so this 11.6% is what is disclosed to the customer. If he wants to get deeper into it, as per RBI guidelines, he needs to be specified, कि कितना किसका है, share कितना है, which is there as a disclosure mandatorily on website of all the NBFCs who take part in such arrangements.
So he doesn't have a right to, suppose he's making part payment, distress situation, distress here, instead of 10,000 he's paying 8,000. So he can say I'm paying NBFC portion, or I'm saying co-lending, or
no, sir. So technically
this has not happened, but
no, sir. That's a very valid question, and that is how it happens practically, right? Say if I create a book of 100 crores, not all the 100 crore customer are going to pay me on time. 80% चलो टाइम पे भरेंगे, 20% बोलेंगे कभी ज्यादा दिया कभी कम दिया, उसका क्या करेंगे? And these are the corner cases that is solved through the digital modes. How do we take it? So there is a service level agreement which is signed between the NBFC and bank. Generally what happens is the bank tries to, because he's the big brother in this agreement, having 80% kind of share. Generally, again, there is nothing in the RBI mandate, but generally the banks would try to keep their portion safer and try to collect their portion first. Again, this depends on the kind of agreement or the arrangement that the bank and the NBFCs have, but that is how it happens. And this, sir, had fired drastically during the COVID times. So imagine a situation wherein you have lent, co-lend, stuff. If you remember, at that point in time, Nirmala Sitharaman ji had announced that there was a top-up loan which was given to all the borrowers, in times of distress. Now, at that point in time, the banks had a separate rate of interest. The NBFCs had a separate rate of interest. They had a different collection mechanism. These had a different collection mechanism, right? How do you manage it at that point in time is more to do offline, which means that how do you negotiate between the partners is at that point in time, and it generally takes place through the MSA, which is the master service level agreement between the borrower and the lender. From a borrower's perspective, it need not, he cannot say that, okay, I am paying 8,000, I want to pay this 8,000 only to State Bank of India and not to the NBFC partner. Once the money comes in, then the segregation of that money in 80-20 ratio in the interest principal ratio is as per the master service level agreement, which is decided between the two parties. So yeah, so that's with respect to the customers, how they are benefiting. Of course, they get a lesser ROI with a faster turnaround time. For banks, what happens, as I said, that the advantage to them is that they get a lot of PSL customer, which is priority sector lending customer. All the banks have targets of meeting the PSL thing. They use this mode to lend to the priority sector lending group, and they can have a better reach. So for example, we had a tie-up with, say, Central Bank of India. Now Central Bank of India would be very heavy in say middle and western part of India. They might not be that high in the southern, but if they want to lend to some of the people in southern part of India, what they can do is they can have a local tie-up with one of the southern NBFCs over there, and they can have a better reach there. So these are the big business metrics for banks in which they are benefiting out of it, that they get a better reach to the customer. For NBFCs, of course, NBFCs lose out on the customer despite doing all the hard work, despite integrating with tech platforms, doing their due diligence. At the end, customer last में आके बोलता है कि सर मेरे को तो आपका rate of interest ज़्यादा लग रहा है, मैं आपसे funding नहीं ले सकता. And it's a business loss for the NBFCs. Because of this co-lending kind of collaboration, what can happen is NBFCs can have that rate advantage as well. They can maintain their margin. In this case, NBFCs has not reduced its rate of interest. उसका 18% ही है. But क्योंकि customer का rate of interest गिर गया, तो customer उसका retain हो जाएगा. Customer would not go somewhere else, and the NBFCs doesn't end up losing business, which means it's a business gain for it. So this is the thesis of having the co-lending arrangement, and rightly put, it's a win-win-win model, which has advantage for customer, which has advantage for banks, which has advantage for NBFCs. All the parties involved stands to gain out of it, right? Next, there's a slightly technical on the front, and some of the questions that Manoj sir asked are answered in this. So as I said, the CLM1 model, CLM stands for co-lending model. CLM1 model, which was a circular issued by Reserve Bank of India on 21st September 2018. So 2018 was the first circular which came in. Personally, I was lucky, just digressing slightly, but I happened to be part of the NBFC which was involved in initially, making this go live. So I was, very much in the game when this circular came out, and we were, not the first, but yeah, we were the first we were in first three NBFCs to tie up with actually a public sector bank, because to tie up with a public sector bank in itself is a big, challenge, but we were able to close that. Yeah. So what exactly are the key features of CLM1? The process of credit underwriting and disbursement would be on case level basis. As I said, in my introduction, that in CLM1, the RBI circular says that whatever funding that you want to do, it has to be on case level basis, which means अगर किसी ने 20 लाख रुपए का लोन लेना है, तो 20 लाख रुपए में 16 लाख रुपया बैंक डालेगा, 4 लाख रुपया NBFC डालेगा, एंड टोटल फंडिंग जाएगा. तो इट हैपेंस ऑन केस टू केस लेवल बेसिस. अगर 100 crore का पोर्टफोलियो बनाना है, तो imagine you have to do like 500 loans on this basis, on every case basis. Now every case would have its unique pros and cons, every documentation and all those stuff. So it's a very laborious process which was detailed out in the CLM1 model. The loan agreement would be a tripartite agreement. I think, sir, this answers your question, that it's a tripartite agreement wherein the disclosures are given to the end borrower, saying that it is not only the NBFC which is funding you, it is the bank as well at the back end who is funding you. For disbursement of money, both the lenders, it is first pooled into an escrow account. Again, these are the wordings right from the RBI circular. It is pooled into an escrow account and then disbursed into an account of the borrower in a single tranche, which means RBI doesn't want banks, or rather NBFCs, to use this as a margin money. So for example, they pool in the money today, they disburse after 3 days, 4 days. ऐसा नहीं होता है. In the escrow account, it is simple. Once it is disbursed in the escrow account from bank side, from NBFC side, that very day it needs to be disbursed out to the end borrower. From the collection perspective as well, which is the next point, once the money comes into that collection account, collection escrow account, it needs to flow directly on the same day. It cannot be used as a float money either by NBFC or by bank to be maintained in that escrow account. So that's the single, that's the key thing here.
Who is authorized to operate these escrow?
Right, sir. So usually what happens, the bank, of course, they have CASA and all those stuff. So they open the bank account and they give a POA to the NBFC partner to operate this bank account. The reconciliation again happens at the back end. Again, there is a lot of tech business which comes into this, and people are building good business. I have few of the names and examples. People have turned unicorn out of this business. Doing reconciliation between what money needs to go to bank, what money needs to go to
Unicorn out of the reconciliation business.
मतलब ये पूरा business flow करके end-to-end solution provide करके they become a.
Wait, how many slides you have? Because there are lots of issues, but you finish yours.
Yeah, right. So
how many more?
4 or 5 more.
Okay, do that.
So this is part of the CLM1. Again, from customer's point of view, he gets a single statement of account, which means he does not have to see between मेरा say मैंने 20 लाख रुपए का लोन लिया है, I don't have to see कि मेरा 16 लाख रुपया बैंक ए में चल रहा है और NBFC B में चल रहा है, वैसा नहीं होगा. His visibility is very simple, is clear, and that is the interest which I think Reserve Bank of India has maintained to have a single statement of account for the customer level. Quickly coming to the key features of CLM2. Okay, so CLM2 is more, operationally viable, operationally feasible model as compared to CLM1. Under CLM2, the bank is given the option to have a back-to-back arrangement with NBFC to acquire its share of asset without any MHP. So, there are bankers in the room. All of us would have dealt with the DA transaction, the direct assignment transaction. Essentially, what happens is NBFC raises or has some assets on its book, which is curated for 6 months, 9 months, and after say 6 months, 9 months, they go to a bank. They give this asset to them, and they raise some fund out of it. Okay, so that is basically the direct assignment which happens. The CLM2 model, to ease the operational feasibility, what it has done is it has clearly mandated that there could be a back-to-back arrangement between the bank and NBFC, that whatever is the disbursement under the co-lending arrangement, immediately the next month, the NBFCs can go to the bank and get refunded or reimbursed its part of the lending. Again, just to quickly give the example, say 100 crore ka maine total disbursement kiya co-lending mein. The next month I go to bank and I say that, boss, these are the 100 crore that I have disbursed. I have to give him a case-wise detail, which means that, out of these 100 crores, these are the 500 customers spread across whatever locations. I have to show him the bank KYCs or whatever that is. Immediately within 1 week's time, the bank reimburses, if I can use that word, reimburses that portion. So say 100 crore hai, so 80 crore वापस से NBFC के पास आ गया. Now what this does is NBFCs can really run on an asset light kind of a model. उसका खुद के जेब से 100 crore गया, next month 80 crore आ गया, वापस उसने 20 crore लगाया, वापस 100 crore disburse किया, वापस से 80 crore आ गया. And this is a very good mechanism for the NBFCs to kind of scale. That is the place where it is helping the new age NBFCs
at 18% ROE.
At 18% is an example, sir. People go up to 25-26% as well.
Reserve Bank has not interest rate. What is the charge?
Sir, Reserve Bank has not put a restriction per se. They have told that you have to maintain a board approved policy, which means that if your board decide, if I'm the NBFC, if my board decides that I can go up to 30%. Example, again, these are examples. And generally, if you ask me, NBFCs go up to 33%, reducing ROI. Up to. These are the higher limits.
Then what's the difference between them and these old-time money lenders who were charging?
Okay, sir. So I think you walked in slightly late, sir. This was the slide which answers that question. Which basically is the rate advantage on a blended rate which comes to the borrower. Even if they charge at 30%, the borrower ends up getting at 15-16%. That is the key advantage.
Yeah, I saw this. The thing is that this blended model is fine. You know, you have given example of say like 10% and 18%. You are saying that it can go up to 33 also. So that instead of 11.6, the blended rate could be something like even 20 also.
See, itna nahi jata hai, sir. Honestly,
The market forces will play, na? So,
It will not be a viable model.
No, what I'm saying is theoretically.
theoretically, yes.
Somewhere there has to be some kind of a limit on upper.
Then there will be.
Somebody who is desperate may do anything.
What they are saying is competition is there. It's process driven and it's competitive.
Market forces are there.
Yeah, market forces.
Otherwise, it will become like a license right.
yeah,
Go next. There's lots of things, but
yeah.
let's
So that is. Yeah, sorry.
One point I just wanted to, if bank doesn't approve 80%, for example, lending is not good. So this is a case, I'll not quote, but that has happened in few cases where bank says here, because as per bank's policy, the lending you have done is not at all.
So sir, that's again a very practical problem which happens, but it's a business call, right? Again, even I have seen in my experience cases like these happening. When you tie up for the first 3 months, yours and bank's policies can be different. Different as in it has to be a joint policy, but then बैंक को और भी कुछ एडिशनल चेक करना रहेगा जो आप नहीं करेंगे. In that case,
both of you.
आपने अगर lesser rate of interest दे दिया as an NBFC, you cannot recall that money.
Vikas is a part of the panel, na? Anil, I just for 10-15 minutes. I just for a few. Yeah, Vikas, come. No, you come at the right time. It's a part of this topic. It's a part of this topic.
And you cannot technically recall that loan because borrower का तो गलती नहीं है. But the NBFCs ends up taking that burn. Again, that's a 2-3 month kind of a thing. Once the processes are set at a scale, such issues doesn't happen. But yeah, you're very right. Practically, it does happen at the start of the business. Banks have the right to kind of discretionary right to say no, boss, I don't know.
Normally it comes into picture after a year or two when reckless lending starts. That is what I'm just.
No, it's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's going to
It
happen.
starts when after 2 years or 3 years when desperation of doing quite a few things, and then automatically people using that as, because that is ultimately a digital tool only.
Correct.
So there are instances, but I'll not.
We just finish it. There's a lots more. It's
I'll not
getting
digress
hotter and hotter. There's a lot of content. But finish your next 3 slides. Let's understand. Yes.
So these
10 minutes to talk, then we'll cover.
Yeah. So
We'll come
this
to all
slide
that.
basically is the challenges and the mitigants of the co-lending business in India. And till now, whatever I talked about was with respect to the circular, RBI circular. The real business, if I can talk about, starts from this slide, wherein the fintechs can have some of the solutions to the problems and make money and platforms out of the business. One of the key challenges between a bank and the NBFC, of course, is the alignment of process and system. The extensive or the extant checkpoints that a bank has, NBFCs has much lesser, right? How do we standardize those processes? How do we marry these two systems? That is one of the key challenge, and that is where tech solutions come into place. There are a lot of nitty-gritties, right? A bank can realize the NPA at say 180 days. The NBFCs can realize the NPA at say 90 days. Again, this is an example. Recognition could be different. The cycle rate could be different. At the start of every co-lending partnerships, at the back end, the system needs to marry, right? And that is where the tech, the digital part of it, Rohit sir, actually comes into play. And all of this has to be driven digitally. Otherwise, to start with, it happens through say an Excel sharing mode. But then there are a lot of to and fro's, a lot of reconciliation issues which happen. There are differences in the credit assessment methodology. Of course, as I said, banks would have say CAM reports coming in. They would want 3-year kind of projected financials which would come in. NBFCs, on the other hand, can lend only basis the past track record, only basis the banking statement. So at the start itself, there has to be a joint assessment framework which needs to be decided, and that needs to be agreed upon. Customer experience and communication. Now, imagine any of us being a customer, or if all these points are not tied up well, we don't know कि मेरा पैसा मेरे को किसको देना है, right? And that actually hampers a lot of customer experience, the borrower experience, which again is solved through digital means. That if you park that money in the escrow, it gets split into X percentage and moves there. And then, of course, there is information sharing between the partners, which means MIS flowing from bank to NBFC, NBFC to bank, and so on and so forth. And of course, the last point, which is the cultural difference in way an NBFC and a bank operates. NBFCs by nature would be very aggressive. They would be happy to work day and night during the month end. Bank, on the other hand, would have some limits on the way that they are operating. But all these things can be done through proper communication channel and active management relationship between the two groups. This is the practical slide which I wanted to present. These are some of the large co-lending partnerships in India, which is there. Again, these are only some. I have ventured out. Central Bank of India and Edelweiss Group. These were the first time co-lending partners. ICICI Bank has partnership with Indostar. Axis Bank has partnership with Paisalo. State Bank has partnership with Paisalo. Bank of Baroda has partnership with Hero FinCorp. IDFC and Capital Float are partners. RBL Bank and Ugro Capital are partners. So all these players, what I've tried to do is I've taken only bank and NBFCs as partners. Okay. If you looked at the last point, there are multiple partnerships which happen between an NBFC to NBFC, where the larger NBFC works as the bigger brother. And that is actually out of the ambit of the CLM1 and the CLM2 model. That is a business call which happens. It's backed by the Contract Act. Okay, which means, say, if I am a well-funded NBFC, foreign ka paisa hai, and you're a startup, I can come and support to you in lending because you have that distribution reach. And some of the names I've just mentioned, Lending Card, for example, is backed by Fullerton, Vivritti Capital, Flexi Loans, Northern Art, Fullerton India, Ugro Capital, etc. have gained prominence. Again, the last point talks about co-lending between an NBFC to an NBFC. It's not between a bank to an NBFC, and that is the business opportunity which is out there. Currently, if we talk about, there is no direct guideline between an NBFC to NBFC kind of a partnership. It happens basis the Contract Act, which is there. The guideline is very limited. The current guidelines, both CLM and CLM1 and 2 are restricted for partnership between banks and NBFC. But the real fun or the real growth or the future would be basis the partnerships which would be there amongst the NBFCs as well, wherein they can have a higher distribution network.
What is the estimated AUM for that NBFC to NBFC?
So, sir, there is no clear cut
estimate.
Estimated as in, it has to be, more than 50,000 crores.
I mean, larger than the PSU co-lending.
It is much larger than the PSU. For example, I'll just give you an example, Ugro Capital. If you look for it, Ugro Capital has an AUM of 6,000 crores. 6,000 crore ka pura capital, uska AUM, asset under management. 50% of it is through co-lending, which means it is off the books. Uske book pe bhi nahi aata, wo fund karta rehta hai. But it manages the front end of it. And that's the actual beauty of it, because customer gains money. If he wants the lending requirement, he gains the money. Ugro is growing. And so are the larger NBFC. They get some hurdle rate out of the transaction, and balance is passed on to the
HDFC. Erstwhile HDFC was also a co-lender with the second tier NBFC.
Yeah.
Achha, so that is 50,000.
Paytm kiske saath hai?
So, sir, Paytm ka jo hai na, it is not a co-lending partnership. It's a digital partnership. Again, that is, see, Paytm is an LSP. So technically, there are two terminologies. One is the RE. RE is the regulated entity, and LSP is the loan service provider. So Paytm does not have a lending license. It has a payment gateway license. So it comes under the LSPP, sir. Technically वो co-lending नहीं है, because वो पूरा का पूरा पैसा उसका जो co-lender बैंक रहता है या बड़ा NBFC रहता है. तो for example, Paytm has a partnership with Flexi Loans. अब वो पूरा पैसा Flexi Loans लगाता है, but उसका sourcing, उसको manage करना, everything, the tech solution, the front end, the interface, everything is managed by Paytm. So yeah.
Currently, Paytm is partnered with ABF.
Yeah, it is partnered with ABFL. It's one of the biggest partnership. And it's a very well operating model which happens between Paytm and
Aditya Birla
at a scale.
No, the size of Aditya Birla as of today?
So Aditya Birla size is roughly
co-lending mein. Co-lending.
I'm telling you. So 90,000 crore is the total loan book. Out of that, roughly 8,000 crore they are doing into digital lending. In that, it's like co-lending and VC model both
Yeah.
covers into it,
Huh.
business correspondence. Okay. We are also one of the partner.
Yeah.
On that. So yeah, I mean
8,000 is
8,000
digital.
crore. Digital.
Only co-lending figures you have?
So I mean, what happens?
And only Paytm Aditya Birla number.
Let me complete. So there, like two big partnership, three partnerships right now: Merchant Trade Advance, Bharat Pay, Paytm, and Grow Money. This is the three they are doing, and other like small partnerships like we are Credit Fair and I mean in education, healthcare, other sectors are also there. Now like they have not started yet the co-lending piece, 80-20 sort of things. They are everything doing as of now 100-0. Okay. Wanted to start now 80-20 also like with the regulated entities. Like we are also RE, so they will be starting like 80-20. We will start.
So as of now, you are 100%.
100.
I wanted to actually mention everybody. Earlier, I mentioned we have a co-founder of a fintech coming, Vikas Agarwal, who has been with us for a long time, is now a co-founder and a COO and a lot of Cs with a fintech thing. Vikas, just introduce yourself and another 5 minutes from you on this. If your last slide is over.
My last slide is the future outlook, but I think
no, but may finish it.
Okay,
so 5 minutes, and there are lots of issues. In fact, I want you and Vikas. Here we saw the opportunity. The risk has not been covered. I wanted to answer that. Then we'll have inputs, particularly from Rohit on the digital part of it. Manoj, from both angles. This thing is NBFC, return aspects, and who I think we have a senior VP of IFL also. Citibank. We have a lot of top talent here. And then we'll cover your session and this.
So,
yeah.
I think before future outlook, let me
first finish the slide. It's the last presentation is last slide.
Sir, I'll hand it over to you in a way that you can take it from there.
No, it's okay.
Because future outlook is that
it's supplement, yeah. And the risk then we will cover and then we'll cover.
Future outlook is that the new age fintechs and I'm eager to hear sir what his company does. But with regulatory framework in place, at least between a bank and NBFCs, I think there is an increased collaboration opportunity between bank and NBFCs in place. Tech solution providing platforms, to manage the daily operation flow. As I said, there are a lot of operational challenge which can be solved through tech solutions. Most of the co-lending momentum is expected to increase. I've just again named it. This is in public domain. There's a platform by the name UB. It's backed by Vivriti Capital. It was founded in 2020 and it's already a unicorn as we speak. What it does is a very simple tech solution, which means अगर आपको State Bank of India के साथ co-lending partnership करना है, you have to come through UB. It does all the back-end management for it. Cashfree is again developing a full stack co-lending platform for itself. And there are a lot of NBFCs and marketplaces which are coming up in this domain, solving for this problem. The MSMEs would be the key beneficiaries for this, because through such collaboration, the rate of interest goes down for them, right? And they even if they are underserved or unserved, they get a reach directly from the financiers, the main financiers, and regulatory evaluation, especially for an NBFC to NBFC kind of partnership. While there is no direct, regulation over there are digital guidelines. There are two digital guidelines. One of September 2022. The second came in June of 2023, which talks about some of the things which can be done between a platform to platform, but there is no specific guideline with respect to the NBFC to NBFC, which to my mind could be the next thing which the regulator could be looking to develop the co-lending momentum. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
This is a great.
How MSMEs are getting benefit by low rate of interest?
Sorry?
How MSMEs are getting benefit by low rate? Because Vivriti is raising at 9.75%.
Okay.
Only funded few of the bonds, so
no.
I don't know how it is translating into low.
So this is the slide, Yogesh. I think you can go through this.
This will always be beyond 10%. Na?
Which would be beyond 10%?
Any MSME approaching APFL or any platform which is like UB or Anti-Fee or Philip Capital, none of the platform is below 10%.
So see, generally the market may, if you are borrowing specifically the unsecured loans, right, the rates are never sub 10%. In fact, to be very honest, the average rate. All of these business starts from unsecured. Then eventually, as a business cycle grows, it goes to.
Everything is raising a lot of funds, but everything is beyond 975.
It has to be. It has to be because banks would not give them, at a lesser ROI. उसका asset quality तो क्या करें?
Purpose भी lendable नहीं होता है ना.
Correct. Purpose भी lendable नहीं होता है.
First तो regulatory में strike हो जाता है कि purpose is not lendable.
Correct. फिर उसका credit rating शायद इतना ये नहीं होगा. And these are the practical issues which actually comes out. But the thing is, जितना reach उसका होगा ना विवृत्ति का. So for example, if someone is in need of money, right, and this can be, I am sitting out of say some village in Maharashtra.
I think NBFCs are more into arbitrage, regulatory arbitrage, where banks can't fund those loans, or where some regulatory forbearance is not there. Because of that, NBFCs are funding.
So correct. So correct.
That's the only disconnect I can find. Because otherwise, to give an example, there are many even real estate players who are borrowing at 16%.
Yeah. So Yogesh, as I said, there were two parts.
Cover slide. BFSI.
Two parts of the presentation. The first part talked about what is there in the regulation, which is a bank to NBFC kind of thing. As I eventually moved in the presentation, there was how the NBFCs or how the new age fintech players are trying to build up business model out of it, right? And there the business model is of reach, to be very honest. It's a distribution.
Response from SMEs actually.
So it's very good. Now, for example, Paytm ABFL tie-up, right? You can actually get the loan disbursed in a day, right? If you're a merchant on Paytm's website or Paytm app, Paytm has all the transaction which it gives to say ABFL in this case. ABFL does some multipliers, some basic check again digitally, gives out a loan. The sanctioning is done, the approval is done real time. There is no credit PD which happens because the ticket sizes are fairly small, right? 5 lakh rupees, 7 lakh rupees, 10 lakh rupees. And similarly, the risk-based pricing is also there, right? And they are offered various products. For example, if you borrow through Paytm, they would say that instead of paying a one-shot EMI for the month, you can pay it on daily basis. So that's good for the MSME, right? If I am running a Kirana store, I don't have to pay 15,000 on X day. I can pay 500 rupees each day. That goes, it comes, it goes, it doesn't matter. These are the places where actually the businesses are evolving. So to say.
What's the rate for MSME for Paytm?
So it depends, sir.
It's 24%.
24.
With the customer knows.
24-36% that goes.
Customer knows
It's
that.
like, it's an EDI.
Everything is
equal daily installments.
Okay.
EDI.
Yeah.
So let's say there is a requirement of 5 lakh rupees, and if we logins on the Paytm app and he just asks about that, then through like API it goes to the ABFL BRE system.
Yes.
BRE system gets processed, and within 1 minute the disbursement happens.
So customer knows 36%?
Yeah. So there generally it comes like a 2% monthly short of.
36 is not disclosed. 2% monthly is disclosed.
It's now after this DLG APR annual percentage rate you have to disclose
From 1st December.
From September onwards.
September.
Onwards.
Okay.
9 September there was circular.
Yeah.
After that you will have to show your APR. So
9 September
we
onwards.
have also used that. I mean, we
Right,
have also changed
right.
all these things.
Right.
Yeah.
So good. I'll share some latest developments only, which happened on Thursday. Thursday, which has happened after this topic was decided, and which is going to happen on Monday. First, the Monday is one. So Monday, we discussed earlier in our roundtable meetings, there is a meeting of one of the NBFCs, that is Piramal Enterprise. And also, there has been a last week listing of Geofinance. Everybody wonders what Geofinance is going to do. They are 6% treasury shares of Reliance. I think they got only 20,000 crore rupees. But people are talking as if they'll threaten the largest, biggest one in terms of competition. So they don't have much funds, 20,000. Of course, it takes time. So Monday, there is a meeting of Piramal Enterprises in the afternoon. There's a AGM for Reliance in the earlier part of the day. So a co-lending partnership will happen where possibly if the board approves for Piramal Enterprise, the actual funding for the Geo finance customer where the chairman is Mr. KV Kamath, ex-ICS here. So interest rates and all will come to know. They are not going to make it easy for ATM and right and others.
Again,
but it's a big opportunity.
This,
let me now share about Thursday also. It's all linked to co-lending. We talked about unsecured lending and these rates. So a company also talked about unicorn opportunities. I hope at least 10-20% from here can set up unicorn. It will be really good. It doesn't collapse. Unicorn doesn't collapse in time. So this Thursday, one company, NBFC, totally engaged in secured lending and 100% co-lending model. 100% co-lending model and focus on 100% secured also, and also not this 36-24%, talking about that 12-13%, 11%. They had a foreign currency loan of $275 million. Loan was repaid on Thursday. Loan. Huh? No, yeah, but I'm talking the issues first. Huh? Now that is the NBFC to NBFC, $275 million loan, foreign currency, ECB. They paid in time 1 week before they funded fully, and they announced. And it was actually funded when they announced. Credibility was low, but when they actually repaid, they sent an official disclosure to the stock exchange. Instead of a 2-line disclosure, $275 million paid, they are given a 2-page letter trying to explain their business model again and again. And the name will be changed also. They are mentioned in that. And it is listed, and the stock price went up by 9% on Friday. So it was available at 161, 163 in the morning, and the closing was 174. It takes for people time to read and spread. But that is pure 100% co-lending model. Trying to tell the world it's co-lending model. Credibility is half because of the promoter issues, whatever. But the chairman is ex-RBI deputy governor, known to me. He was the ex-chairman of Bank of Baroda. We've been interacting. He's NCLT chairman of BSE also, incidentally. To maintain credibility, they have LIC, housing finance director on the board. LIC has got 10% equity, 8% equity stake, and also good stake in bonds. So this happened on Thursday. Now, one question you have to answer before anybody, Mayur, feel free to say, Manoj and Rohit. We talked about opportunity. We talked about interest rate. I'm really happy you talked about blended rate of 18% and you shared 24 to 36. It is huge. No, that's okay. I'm coming to my question was on risk and very specific. Now the risk is when the money comes, and you will actually elaborate what's happening. When the money comes, earlier we get the example of 10,000 rupees wala customer, if he pays part, it happens. But the point is, when the money comes, suppose that installment, the loan of, let us say, you mentioned 5 lakhs, 7 lakhs, I'm saying even 25 lakhs. Yeah. Because we said maximum 1 crore, right? Yeah. If there's a 30 lakhs loan and only 24 lakhs is recovered, stress situation, 6%, and interest is also paid for, let us say, for a part number of years. Yeah. Before it's fully paid, then would the person say, I am getting only 9.5%, you are getting 18%. So you bear that risk, you are getting 18%. My blended is 11.5. First principal part will come to the PSU bank, or it will be shared with the NBFC, or both will take the risk. Is it possible? Some partnerships are a PSU, the banker, co-lender gets full money because they are lending at lower rate. I want you to share and you to share based on actual experience.
So I'll
risk balance and anybody can do.
I'll take that question, sir. So if you in your example, if we follow the extant guidelines of RBI with respect to the co-lending between banks and NBFCs, the CLM 1 and 2, RBI has very clearly told that risk and reward are for the respective lenders, which is there in the circular that they have released, which means agar 24 lakh diya 6 lakh default hua, so the bank cannot demand the NBFC ki boss ye to tu le le because you got a higher interest. It cannot happen as per the regulation.
Before, can they have the agreement right in the beginning?
No. It is a risk and reward sharing agreement if you follow the guideline between a bank and NBFC. Now, if it is between an NBFC to NBFC, example that you gave, for example, Geo Financial Services and Piramal, which is an NBFC to NBFC kind of a partnership. There could be a agreement.
Anything.
Yeah, there could
You
be an
said
agreement.
Contract Act. You use the word Contract Act.
Contracted, but anything. I mean,
Contract
it's
Act
not,
means-
under that guidelines. of
Correct.
CLM.
So the answer to that is twofold. If it is about the CLM guideline, and if it is between a bank and NBFC, technically the bank cannot force. He was, I need to
Not
have my
force,
money.
that's also contract, no?
Yeah, it's a contract,
But
but
it's
then-
not force.
It-
You
it's
agree,
not.
you don't agree?
Yeah, that's it. So that's with respect to bank and NBFC. With respect to NBFC, of course.
What's the actual market practice with banks? On this division of risk?
I mean, if I can say, it's about gentleman's agreement. See, NBFC would be having a larger relation with the bank, right? It's not that only one loan which needs to
So
be signed.
banks also.
But they are sourcing it. They know the customer better.
They are right, but then as per regulation.
Whether digital or physical.
Yeah.
India will say is we have 100 branches, they are hiring 1,000 employees also.
Yeah.
So then they know, they go and meet the borrower.
They meet the borrower, yeah.
हाँ.
But ये जो भी transaction है ना, it's not like we are starting from scratch. Securitization was always
Yeah.
the banking.
Yeah.
So pool का seasoning कितना हुआ है, क्या हुआ है, it was always assessed. It's a proper due
Yeah,
diligence. RBI also says that transferring a performing loan, securitization अगर 2 साल से ज़्यादा है तो 6 महीने का seasoning होना चाहिए. Everything is there.
Yeah. So the CLM2, Yogesh, is exactly on this, that there is no MHP. It's the same thing without an MHP, which is the minimum holding period.
That's why bank will do additional due diligence.
Due diligence.
So
करता है.
practically risk sharing, how does it take place?
Practically, if the partnership is between a bank and NBFC,
Yes.
the risk sharing is not done practically even. And in the ethos, bank would say कि boss अगर loss हुआ, I bear the loss because he is underwriting it. When the NBFC goes to him with the portfolio कि मैंने इतना disburse किया, आप मेरे को पैसा वापस दो.
Yes.
The bank does a secondary level of underwriting. It is not a blind, push of the money.
True, they do it.
So
Yeah.
between a bank and NBFC, there cannot be a risk reward, cover by the NBFC. One, between an NBFC to NBFC, there could be the bigger brother, that is the bigger share.
Based on agreement.
He can say he was up to
Sharing.
the extent of 5%, up to extent of. See, abhi to
Credit cost is always factored in.
that is factored in.
Whenever banks will buy a loan, it will add a notional credit cost. That
It will. नहीं तो उसका margin.
Because your knowledge about actual market practice
let
on
me add
risk sharing. Yeah.
Let me add in that.
हाँ.
Let's say in co-lending thing, where bank and NBFC is there. Example, that is 80-20, right? 20%.
Bank and NBFC.
Bank and NBFC.
Yes.
80%
Yes.
financed by the bank,
Yes.
and 20% financed by the
Yes.
NBFC.
Yes.
So in such scenario, the risk also is like that only. 80% risk will be borne by the
All 100% of cases.
all 100% of the cases.
Okay.
Because like when you decided, let's say there is a threshold, or the hurdle rate of 14%, example, and you are charging 18% to the end consumer. So these 4% will be the sort of a income for collection efforts and for the origination to the NBFC from the bank. Okay. So bank has took 14% example as a interest rate. So they have already taken also consider the risk into it. Okay. So 80% of the portfolio will be covered by them as a risk also. So let's say if there is total 10% ka loss. Okay. So
We give example 80% paid, 20% loss. Practical situation.
So 10% ka loss is there. So 2 rupees will be borne by NBFC and 8 rupees by the bank.
By that.
Simple. But in case of NBFC to NBFC, like we are also doing in this. So what happens? They say we will do 80-20, but first 5% of, let's say, of the NPA, you guys absorb. Let's say. So that's short of 5% FLDG also is coming.
That's NBFC.
Not even 100-0,
Yes.
even 80-20 maybe that is also coming.
Yeah.
Yes.
RBI only said that you can't issue FLDG beyond 5%.
Yeah. So
No,
that is
that's
the
okay.
new
That is
guideline.
100-0 mein hai in NBFC model, like
Earlier, with the
lending service provider.
FLDG mechanism was actually high.
So now if I can take that will capture it,
Yeah.
right? So
Take that. Yeah, then I'll give. There was one more thing on the risk sharing on this large ticket loans, risk real estate sector. AIFs were doing, but in those AIFs in the last 2 years, risk sharing was taking place where the large part of that AIF contributor, often an FII, but it could be large private equity risk player. So they said the person sourcing it, who knows the builder, will first our money will come. You take a higher return. You take a higher return as you gave, but that first part our money will come, then you take the money. And the co-lender was happy because they say we are sourcing it. It could be people loans of 100 to 200 crores were talked about. But the regulator, here is a capital market regulator, was not comfortable with these type of agreements. So some were launched, then they did not take place.
Yeah.
So later, I think you can cover that. That is there. And anybody else, Mayur, on this before we move to the next presentation?
On this AIF point, what I understand.
No, we are talking AIF and co-lending point, anything.
So on the AIF part only I was saying, that the way it is structured is that AIF always says that I will be charging first my management fee. But whenever after the management fee, whatever the surplus comes, that will be distributed among all the investors.
Yes.
There's all the investors will say
Yes.
it goes to everyone.
Right.
So it is only that management fee which is the AIF is charging firstly on that.
Yes.
It's not that the complete fund will be repaid first to AIF.
Yeah. Management fee is there, but large deals in last couple of years they were talked about. So the partner would say you are the originator. So in case part money comes, let us say 80 crores comes out of 100 crores or 90 crores comes. So then we'll get the full thing, and that returns besides the management fee. Besides the management fee was also there because they were also giving 20% on loans.
Right now, because whatever the arrangement I had seen, that is normally only on the.
Which were finally approved by the regulator. Regulator ensured they were rejecting the other agreements which were talking about a disproportionate sharing of risk.
So they create a class of units, ABCD.
Yes.
Based on that.
Yeah, correct. Different classes were created.
That is waterfall structure.
Yeah.
That is for the waterfall
If I am
structure.
someone who is close to LP, I will get
Right.
class A, class B, class C, depending on that.
But at least from AIF perspective, they can only charge management fee.
Right.
Rest of the amount.
Yeah, they were very clear.
All the.
Yes. Yes.
Huh.
So those type of AIFs, many of them did not come to that. Rohit, on the digital side, you have seen, he talked about 1 month. He talked about 1 week in the initial part of his presentation. And you talked about 1 day. This co-lending partnership, right? 1 day, no? Paytm and Aditya Birla. And what you see on actual practical situations on digital part of it,
I don't have that visibility on that. What Vikas said, that is what I.
How can they take care of a risk within 1 day? And they talk about.
When we just look at 24%, actually it is always need-based. And if it is, the payout is on a monthly basis or even on a daily basis, if you see need-based, how much, like you said, a Kirana store, it's more practical for him rather than getting into lending rates. Another thing is for us academician to just look at 24%, 28%. But actual real situation is need based. Now, how you need to kitna paisa kitne mein jayega, they know business.
Need hai to rate le lo.
It is not that we feel. Yeah. We feel it is the businessman knows usko kitna paisa dena hai, how much he is able to service it. So it is not that he is fooled. He is forced to do that. At times he has to. He has to go by the situation. He knows कि इसका lending, he doesn't have a lending history. He doesn't have a credit score. उसको यही मिलेगा and he is able to. And that is how they do. So this is how the real life situation is. Not everybody is corporate. There are quite a few. Vikas can add. He is smiling. He knows much better than me. But I'm saying, I just wanted to check with Vikas. FLDG जो guideline 5% है.
5 minutes.
So this is only currently. अभी 5%.
Oh, cord you handle whichever way. Anybody can sit anywhere actually.
Yeah.
The panel will.
तो case for that.
Right. So, like we were also giving earlier 100% of FLDG. Well, let me give it a frank thing. So then gradually it was like now FLDG has gone from last September onwards. Then we have come on 0 also. Then again, clarity has come in June. Now it's like 5%. So we have again shifted to 5%. So this is what like it depends like risk pricing, how your risk premium has been added into the hurdle rate. That all things depend. Like any banker, any NBFC will not be taking any risk. It will be on the fintechs only. So they will see how the business they are performing. Based on that, they are going for all these things. So our let's say our portfolio is performing very well. So they are okay with 5% FLDG also. So that works accordingly.
Rajeev, this question of somebody wanting to prepay, like simple lending. So somebody is going to say 10 lakhs loan. While he says, okay, I'll repay
Yeah.
So in that case, has he got a choice to say, I will pay the NBFC part first?
Okay, sir. So as I said, the customer does not have any choice. He has full disclosure. Even if he wants to repay, he will repay via the escrow collection escrow account. Which means अगर 10 लाख का लोन है, आज 3 लाख outstanding है, you're paying 2 lakh rupees, it comes to collection escrow account. Once it's in collection escrow account, it gets split in.
Same mechanism will be there.
Yeah.
So same percent.
Yeah. The whole percentage that they have.
So he cannot decide कि भाई high.
नहीं sir, वैसा
High interest rate I will pay first.
So there are three loan statement are generated generally 80%, 20%, and 100%. On the customer facing is only 100%. 80 and 20 will be on the between the lenders. Okay. And this based on 100% only. And the rate what has been given, it's not two rates. It's only the one rate has been given to the borrower. I mean, right? So let's say it's 18%, so 18% only been given. This is the arrangement between both the lenders that let's say 14% would be the hurdle rate, and over and above this 4% will be the as a fee to the NBFC. So this is then 18% on the 20% portfolio and 4% fees on the remaining 80% to cover collection efforts and other origination efforts of the NBFC.
Acha, Manoj Gupta, I would just like to introduce to all. He's the CFO of Tata Investment Corporation, and very large portfolio investments in over 250 companies. I've been tracking Tata Investment for the last 30 plus years. And always Manoj Gupta would be looking at, I think you would be balancing return versus risk across the whole opportunity in India. And besides, of course, along with the investment committee. Your thoughts just on opportunities and risk in this sector?
Yes, so,
and as a professional,
so from
nothing to do with your
perspective, I
company.
just want
Nothing to do with the company.
Yeah, from the risk perspective.
Yes.
Because both NBFCs and banks would have a separate set of guidelines. Because as you said, NBFC is more aggressive in lending.
Yeah.
The bank would be more lenient, not lenient, sorry, would be more slow in the process.
Yeah.
And both have a separate credit assessment of the. So how does that come on a common table when you are assessing 80-20? Or they went to they want to pull the account.
So every partnership which is started between a bank and NBFC, first there is a joint lending policy which is written. It's known as generally the JLP. And there are, internal documentation signing, which is the master service level agreement which gets signed. During this JLP joint lending policy which gets decided, it is at that point in time, there are certain thresholds which are set. That was CIBIL score itne ke upar rehna chahiye, banking mein itna ABB rehna chahiye. ABB is average bank balance. His DSCR needs to be above, so and so. So that is jointly decided at the first stage itself. Post that, it becomes a checklist. So whatever sourcing is done from the NBFC, they have to follow this checklist. If it is qualifying those, only then it would be eligible for the co-lending piece. Otherwise, they any which ways have a lending license, right? They can disburse it on their books. So if it qualifies that, then it goes for the co-lending piece of it, and that is how it is. This was practically. Again, there could be some issues, teething issues for the first 2-3 months, which can come. Bank kuch alag tarike se karta hai, NBFC kuch alag tarike, but those are management things which get solved in the initial phase of it. But over a long period of time, this is how it happens. There's a joint lending policy which is decided. This is which the lending amount happens.
Agreed upon.
Yeah. Sir, I think you had a question. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the type of lenders who can afford 36%?
These are the individual borrowers mainly.
Sir, these are mainly the
mainly
very
the
risky
individual
business. Very
borrowers.
risky business. Nobody want to fund that. So real estate companies. So normally real estate companies do not get the funds from the banks. So it is only the
Individual
NBFC
borrower who doesn't
doesn't
get the money from the they are the borrower. So I would say in that what happens, like let's say I have given only 1% of monthly charges, okay, but when you are taking equal daily installment, then your IRR goes to or APR goes to like
14% बढ़ गई.
नहीं ऐसा नहीं, because आपने every day आपने पे किया ना, so every day आपने पे किया और monthly वाला every day पे किया, so automatically let's say 1% is going 30% in that way, example, okay. So I mean not 30% exactly, but average अगर yearly मैं करूँगा, so that is coming my 1 + 1 2 and then 24 to 36% के बीच में मेरा आता है आराम से.
These are the secrets of co-lending business. Very few people have access to actually, right? But it takes place. This happens in the market, right?
this is a creating some sort of model where is it more than equal to the microfinance. Microfinance and business also you go there also you charge 30%. So they are completely only
This part I understand. But what I am not understanding, where are those businesses that generate 30% plus type of return?
So which businesses? Sir, I'll simply answer that, sir. What you are looking for is a ROI based kind of a thing, right? In businesses across India, it's a cash flow mechanism. Okay, I'll simply explain this. You're very sticky about कि भाई ROI 30% कैसे देगा वो, उसका तो margin ही 5% है. But वो 5% he is revolving it 6 times in a month. So for example, if I am a grocery seller, I know if I need the money, मेरा दिवाली का season है, if I stock it out with whatever the money which I have, I can rotate that money fast. And I have to pay this 30% over the tenure of 24 months, right? So it's more of a cash flow business, wherein my cash flow takes care of the interest, and it doesn't eventually ends up, on my P&L that much, and I end up making money out of it even as a borrower. So that's the simple answer.
India growth story. The world is attracted to it. Acha, you mentioned initially, you're getting ready. You mentioned this unicorn few names. We are everybody is waiting for names.
बताया ना sir, UB बताया था मैंने. Cash free बताया. UB करके है, which is backed by Vivritti Capital.
In funding, you also mentioned reconciliation, etc.
That is
UB.
BB?
UB. Why?
What's the net worth of it now?
It's an unicorn already, and
Cred Avenue and
Cred Avenue is
नहीं net worth बोल रहा हूँ, not a market cap.
So
net worth.
I have नहीं, it's not listed, but
मिल जाता है ना information.
अच्छा वो I have to check.
That is not more than I think 400-500 crore.
Okay. 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 I'll share on this issues. The CEO of this pure co-lending model, pure co-lending listed. When you see on the websites, the cash flow projections are also there. Transparency as a learning. He mentioned in the official conference call, this co-lending models with 8 PSU banks. Names are mentioned, 8 parties. And 8 parties, including one NBFC, which was HDFC, which got merged because of sourcing and all. Now, he also mentioned he also mentioned very clear CIBIL scores, which are upwards of 700, which is very good. Maybe initially first 2-3 years it will come. Later what happens, we don't know. But it is good. Risk thing. But what was mentioned in the conference call, he says, you highlighted above about escrow accounts. He said each of his transaction of his co-lending there is a concurrent auditor. He used that word, concurrent auditor, this 8 co-lending parties. Now, which is a 7 PSU, I think they'll add a few more PSU banks, is doing a concurrent audit. What does that mean?
So it falls within the ambit of all the checks that banks internally have, which includes concurrent audit as well.
On a daily basis?
The concurrent audit.
That means there is 100% test of 100% of transactions?
So that is what the...
I don't know, I'm asking you, because these are the words which are used.
Yeah. So it happens on the LMS of...
No, his are 30 lakhs transactions, so 17 lakhs. These are not that 1 lakh transactions of ATM type.
Whatever that is, sir. But if it is in bank, it automatically forms under the ambit of the regular functioning of the bank. And hence, even the concurrent audit is also applicable.
So he was right.
He was right.
You're not bluffing.
No, not at all.
No, we don't know trust.
You have all blockchains doing all kind of audits. Maybe millions of transactions, lakhs of transactions happening per minute. So you have this AI, ChatGPT or blockchain, that help you.
No, it's very interesting. Okay. So automated concurrent audit. But you're talking about manual concurrent audit.
Based on sampling also it's done.
Sampling, no, here he mentioned about 100% concurrent audit.
That happens.
It captures what the bank is needed as per RBI or as per the regulations.
This model was...
Achha, you had something.
This basically this co-lending model and digital, this lending is right, 100% works on the digital piece. There is no manual. So the
Yes.
what they have used because the photo is automatically generated from Aadhaar card
your address is generated from Aadhaar card, mobile number is generated from Aadhaar card, UID, all the data has been uploaded from there.
Yes.
Your signature is also digitally signed.
Right.
So they can safely say that, see, I can download everything from my UID server. I can safely say it is 100% under Concurrent audit. So I only has to do only checks and balances.
Achha, you can say 100% Concurrent audit without a Concurrent auditor sitting and checking it.
Concurrent will be there, but they are checking. It's not our manual Concurrent audit. Like, when we are doing the manual Concurrent, we are checking the photo.
वैसा नहीं होता है. Everything is
they are doing on the take check basis. So one can say that if everything goes from UID server, I can safely say, yeah, I did the random.
No, good. These are practical sharing what you are saying. So digital Concurrent audit without a CA panel, right?
Yeah.
Or with a CA panel.
Without CA.
Here is the form.
Because you have to apply all algorithms, everything.
You are signing on digital. You put your Aadhaar card number, give the OTP, form will be signed according to this one. So
This
digital. No.
And also Concurrent audit.
Yeah, no manual.
So nowadays, like they are asking the requirement of CISA and DISA auditors. So sometimes you know about the system.
Yeah.
So the bank says if you are CISA, DISA, then it's good.
This was the first time because this particular company has undergone all through SEBI investigation, RBI investigation, PIL, Indiabul Housing Finance, and the reason that trio of promoters they are getting out, they have sold. I think 1% remains. Now I believe people are talking Poonawalla and Jio and all the big ones are trying to get into it. Yeah. Today it is still available. जियो का तो ओनली सेलर था फ्राइडे को लिया
सर कंकर्न ऑडिट क्या चेक करेगा कि यूआईडी के हिसाब से ऑथराइजेशन है कि नहीं है तो हो गया उसका काम
तो मंडे को डिसाइड करना द चेयरमैन विल से समथिंग एंड वी डिस्कस आई थिंक Piramal Enterprises has a official meeting on Monday on co-lending तभी डिसाइड करना on the I think our technical analyst has just gone outside the room. Whether to go for Jio or whether to go for Piramal Enterprises, or after the end of the session, some of these co-lending companies can be better opportunities. 30% CAGR. Or many these ideas are coming. Exactly. And often better opportunities come from real estate and retail. Yes. Acha, Anil, formally a brief introduction about Suyash.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for giving me an opportunity. Suyash Bhise is a chartered accountant of November 99, presently working as CFO of Chronic Builders Limited since August 21. Earlier, he was CFO of Wonder Chef Appliances Private Limited. The areas of experience includes corporate finance, business partnering, fundraising, information technology, and controlling. This short introduction, I welcome him to take over the session.
No, I will just supplement. Suyash is a part of us, quietly monitoring and participating. And we had the CFO Perspective series. Immediately I said, we'll get the best resources from Suyash. And immediately agreed. And he really wanted to cover the topics everybody is looking forward to. Not only finance, talk about all the other CXOs, what they are doing, how a CFO interacts with them. Yes.
So thank you, Manoj, for giving this opportunity, and Anilji for giving the introduction. The world is very small, so we found common acquaintance.
You're for common?
Common acquaintance. So he knows his friend is my neighbor, sir.
Oh, that way. That is very good. Good. Yes. Now the neighbor.
So I'll start with the origin why CFO is required. So everybody knows as per Companies Act, 10 crore authorized issued capital, you need to have a CFO. But as the globalization happening since 1990, markets have been opened to, in India for the MNCs. A lot of good practices also started coming in. That is more given to the CFO as compared to earlier. Earlier we are just the CFO fraternity as such, or the accountants were called CFO. The CFOs were called the accountants. Synonymous. But over the period now it is changing. So private sector is growing. Earlier there was a PSUs dominating industries or PSUs dominating market was it. Now private sector is growing. It's in every sector. I think hardly any sector is left for private sector to be opened up. Most of the sectors are opened up for private. So that gave a lot of boost to the CFO's requirement as well as CFO's talent, CFO's skills by way of just a counter. Because it is not just the counting that they do, but the recording of the transactions, keeping it at multi-fold levels, and that helps. And also the tax planning, who better than CA can do the tax planning. So if we look at the CFO, what are the overall work that they do? So it starts from the business strategy, corporate finance, business partnering, financial planning and analysis, business management, technology, accounting, taxation, and investor relation communications. Because as everybody knows, a small wrong information or small mistake in the communication can take the share price anywhere, can hurt the credibility of the overall organization even it is unlisted. So that's where the CFO comes in, wherein investor relations or communication of market that he controls, it is vetted, validated, and then sent to market. So evolving CFO, if it join, has to join a lot of things together. It has to have the business, what business wants, what are the organized aspirations from the growth point of view, what is the business strategy of the promoters, the founders, and also the top management. Then there is a greater loop of compliance and regulation, because all these three things, they don't understand much into compliance, which is required from the capital markets, compliance required from a taxation point of view. So they have to marry the requirements regulatory and also then manage the stakeholders relations, what they want, because stakeholders are large, shareholders are there, again promoters are there, tax community is there. Then other statutory authorities, like in our case in real estate is a RERA, in case of insurance it is a RERA, in case of the banking and the RBI. So if you go to cooperative bank, one more cooperative department of the ministry comes in. So every business has its own regulation, even though it is opened up, and regulation takes care of the social things. People are not getting hurt, so that's why it becomes important. Again, the core function, the accounts and taxation remains set. So how the role of the CFO is changing over a period of time. So reporting and financial planning analysis remains still the core. It's all serves as a long-term value creation. Information that CFO has I'm talking of the CFO, but need to mention the CFO part includes not just individual person, but the whole army it has, the accounts department, finance department, company secretary, and lot many places even IT and legal also reports to the CFO, because that is required. Every now and then, every value creation needs to be supported by legal documentation. So it has to be collaboration. And it also tracks, or it is given a lot of responsibility from the risk point of view. Risk management is a core in CFO's function, because it has to validate, not just validation starts from the business strategy, business planning, and also the day-to-day transactions. A lot of places, lot of companies. That's why the internal auditor is also interested or as given under CFO. But as such, the corporate governance requires independence. But again, the CFO is also reporting to the same committee, the audit committee, and again then the board. So I think the overall authorization remains the same. So a lot of companies found merit that internal audit should be part of it. And that's why even while going into risk, is also able to find out a lot of opportunities. In terms of business, in terms of any revenue leakages, or in terms of cost hike increases, and that helps. And also has to provide a lot of support and motivation to the overall staff. Because I'm business partnering as a CFO for last since my wondership from appliances days. I hardly do any kind of accounting. So my maximum time goes into the sales team, construction team, production team, supply chain management team, logistics and all that, because
not fundraising. How much percent of your time goes in fundraising?
Fundraising, once I shifted to real estate, now 80% goes into fundraising.
80%. Normally it's 100%, but yes, now I'm coming to the heart of it. Okay. and the sales team is also for collections?
Sales team, we have separate CRM team. So CRM team has a dual responsibility or dual reporting that is also in the finance also. Because they are collecting a lot of information from customers, like their collections or their and we have in-house housing finance team again. So every project we are tied up with around 120 odd NBFCs and banks. So the first time contact, whenever there is a, just from the real estate point of view. So once the customer comes in, we'll try to ensure that he goes out with the first 10, 11,000 checks and also a housing loan tag. Because we always already have around 20 plus NBFC tied up. So we give us all income documents and everything. He has to give only PAN. Immediately basis of the PAN, we can say, okay, your CIBIL score is there, you are eligible for so much, because PAN.
From PAN you get a CIBIL score.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to sign the authorization. Nobody can take out your CIBIL score without your authorization.
Acha. Authorization means the signature has to tally with the PAN card.
Yeah.
Consent.
Consent that I agree
Consent.
for him to check my CIBIL and access my financial records what was there with the credit aggregators.
So a lot of things are written with small letters. So,
And this is an important part actually, both you and you give your inputs. Besides Mayur, what CIBIL score you are comfortable with?
So
minimum, don't say 750. Everybody is comfortable.
We are doing with 625. Okay, and we are like doing new to credit also. So it's not, we are not doing that. So in that we look some other parameters, but for CIBIL it's 625 more than.
Somebody told me over 600, a top banker.
हाँ हो सकता है, but हमारा 625 है. I mean,
so 620 no?
नहीं 625.
So we have a threshold of 700 with version 3 of CIBIL score. Above that cases only we fund. New to credit, of course, there are cases that we fund, but then there are limits on which we.
No, limits.
Yeah, I agree that there are NBFCs and new age platforms which do up to 625 kind of.
But new to credit, you'll have some surrogates to see.
Correct. So new to credit में क्या होता है सर कि एक तो banking surrogate हो जाता है या GST भर रहा है तो GST से आ जाता है. And if you know अभी new to credit में भी ना they give a score. New to credit में -1 और 0 देते थे पहले. अब वो -1 में भी they give a score between 100 to 300. So typically if you have done ever inquiry on CIBIL, or if you have done say you and I are brothers and you are a guarantor to my loan, अगर वो appear नहीं करेगा आपके लोन में तो भी वो आपका inquiry में और उसमें करके they give some score between 100 to 300, which is a pseudo score which we try to use.
But how credible it is? I heard that.
No, it's very recently started. It's not very tested, but then again there are checks in terms of having the banking checks, the GST check which can be done. So उसके साथ collaborate करते हैं. Of course, nobody wants to let go of the customer who is coming.
Best way you can assess the customer.
Yeah.
Suyash, carry on. Good, you raise this point. Is a vital parts, customers. So only PAN number.
Only PAN.
Okay. Bank or NBFC, they are having the CIBIL policy. Every individual co-lending income. Because see, this CIBIL score is also now.
Actually, now we are on real estate.
You are
yes.
real estate. You are also.
And Ola CFO. Yeah.
We are talking on earlier subject. Every co-lending partnership or NBFC or bank, they are having a separate CIBIL policy.
Yeah.
Because the CIBIL score which is coming is hardly there is a 5 to 7% chances are there it is incorrect. So one has to go through it.
Yes, it's a vital. Yeah.
It is not
foolproof. It's not foolproof.
Score is also, and in order to get the CIBIL score rectified, ना वो पूरा जैसे income tax में चप्पल गल जाता है ऐसा situation है.
There are touts handling it.
Yeah.
There are many touts, and who are sending WhatsApp messages to everybody, and they are actually getting calls also.
Or then if somebody has dialed some wrong phone number in your CIBIL, that data also getting captured there. Suppose incorrect mobile number डाल दिया, तो उसका जो CIBIL है ऐसा बहुत सारा is many problems and complications are there. So it is not some sort of 100% like a mark sheet, CA mark sheet, pass हो गया.
And even I've heard even the soft inquiry and hard inquiry gets captured in the CIBIL score. For example, if you don't have a requirement of loan, still somebody calls, and if you made an inquiry, what's the rate? Then they put it as a hard inquiry and it affects your CIBIL score, saying that this guy has a requirement.
Achha, they put it.
Yeah.
But do they have to do a recording because you may not have done a hard inquiry?
When you download a CIBIL score, I think towards the end of the report they give us a short summary. Last how many such calls he has attended and what was the inquiry.
Okay.
I have seen there are like
No, I never made a ask for a CIBIL score.
Just have a look at it.
No, it's interesting. Yes, it's very interesting.
I can add this one also. When we are opening the bank's account and all this side, that time na every bank is doing the CIBIL checks. अगर आपके अकाउंट में 1 लाख है तो खुद CIBIL चेक कर लेता है कि इसको और फंडिंग कर सकते हैं क्या. हमारा ऑथराइजेशन तो है नहीं है. फिर भी वो सिविल स्कोर डाउनलोड का
there is two things, soft pull and hard pull.
Soft pull,
Okay. तो जैसे हम लोग like we are doing working with other NBFCs, so we do soft pull, okay, and we send the data, I mean, through API. Then they are doing the hard pull, okay. So in soft pull, that is not updated into the CIBIL. It's not getting there. Only in hard pull, the scores are getting reduced, or I mean.
What is the hard pull? What is the soft pull? I don't know.
Scrub analysis होता है, so उसमें soft pull में like we have the integration with Experian and CIBIL and all. So soft pull में when we send the PAN number details, that report soft pull में that reports comes. We did not need to download the report, okay. But when you are doing the loan, you need to have the hard pull. So hard pull our co-lending partner is doing. We are doing the soft pull.
So yeah, I'll just explain this practically also. A lot of us see, pre-approved loans, pre-qualified loans, right? So what exactly happens is, if say I have a platform business and I have database of 10,000 people, right? So 10,000 लोगों का मेरे पास PAN number है, मान लो. और 10,000 लोगों का I can run a scrub. Scrub means वो मेरे को basic खाली ब्यूरो बताएंगे कि इसका 700 के ऊपर है या नहीं, या 650 के ऊपर है नहीं, whatever threshold I set. And he can give me some insights on the lines, which means कोई bounces नहीं है last 30 days में, 60 days में. Basis which I run some multiplier and I say that boss, he is a good customer to me, I can fund him. So there is some limit of pre-approved. No. So these are soft inquiries.
It's a soft pull.
These are soft pulls.
इसमें अभी है ना एक इसमें technical question हुआ है. See, the thing is that when we are doing the scrub ना, तो though it is not reflected in customer CIBIL, but the thing is that this case has been filed with the RBI. He was without my permission is doing my CIBIL check.
So that's a different thing.
So
it's a consent issue.
Getting affected. So RBI ने भी हाथ ऊपर कर लिया है कि बॉस आपने एक बार उसमें अकाउंट खोला है, so we are not. अभी RBI के पास भी वो कंप्लेंट पड़ा है कि बॉस without informing me, without my sign off, without my authority.
Consent form, yeah.
No, sir. So in the consent itself, within the NBFC or within the bank itself, they take the consent that once you're our customer, and in the fine lines, if you read, I can do your bureau pull, generate such offers for you. So legally we are covered in terms that there is no.
You're covered after disbursing a loan or and before that?
Even if there is an inquiry.
It's coming basically for the platforms who are not having that customer
consent. Yeah.
No, got interesting. So co-lending and so much. Acha, carry on. This is more vital. CFO perspective. But these are core things. Not when practical issues come, no, it really comes.
He said that you get a PAN.
No, next time I think in the next one of few sessions you take one session. It's very interesting. Nee, aapko lots of insights are coming from you. Last few sessions. Or deep practical knowledge is there.
Yeah. Mine is all theoretical.
No. Arre, this is most here.
No, this is not theoretical. You have new perspective.
Inspiration na mind, no. You know how is it. My mind is in an open house. Then one merger and demerger also you to discuss, huh? And that is more exciting also. But this is really. No, latest it is there.
Many things have happened yesterday also. See Sony.
Yeah.
We also discussed.
Yes. And that demerger also. Latest on that. Yeah.
So CFO also has to play a role of a more regulatory angle. Earlier it was only doing the tax. But now, as the things are going up, they are also expected to liaise with the other statutory authorities. I myself, in Wondership Home Employees, I used to do liaise with the CSD department, the Defense Canteen Services Department, for approval of the products. Because we used to go to the excise, the building is there in the church gate, so there they are the defense office also, and also the CPC, Central Police Canteen in Delhi, to get all the products approved, because after MD, the CFO was interested in our organization that they have to go, they have to authorize, they can authorize the prices, they can authorize how cost markup can be given. So everywhere, and I can practically see, I have seen a lot of CFOs again sitting over there and approving the prices along with the CSD or the individual business. It used to happen. Like there was an issue in from the pollution control in the local ground, having warehouses. So again, they call, किसी बड़े को बुलाओ तुम्हारे HO से. So the Sarpanch was again very stubborn. I will not listen to anybody else. So I had to rush there and solve the problem. Being a Maharashtrian, and things were sorted out. So again, looking at CFO again has to look into insurance also in every smaller and larger aspect, not just risk management practices, but this is very important. This is traditional. So in our real estate, it starts from the car. The contractors all this, it goes into BUCC once building is largely completed, and then once it is completed, fully operational, then goes into Griha, Riksha or the fire policy. So every stage or everything again stops at the most of the places at the finance department, CFO's table. Yes, what decision we shall take, whether we go for car policy, whether we go for BUCC policy or what policy. So these smaller things also come to them, which are more important from the compliance and regulations, because insurance as a larger organization, it is very important to have. So it poses a lot of the challenges from the strategic point of view, because a lot of costs are not part of strategy. But again, being a CEO everywhere, he has to start from the board. He has to balance the growth, balance the cost, and balance the strategy. And again, entrusted by the board of directors or the audit committees as the leaders of the corporate governance everywhere, because it's again look CFO क्या कर रहा है?
CB ने भी बोल दिया ना सर कि any fraud happens, it is presumed. CFO is there.
CFO is correct.
I mean, what did it presume? I think 2 weeks back only.
How do you look at it? Because in real estate there are more issues of such things coming up.
Not real estate for everywhere.
No, I agree everywhere. But
so I'll tell you.
So that was industry agnostic.
So we were discussing co-lending. Co-lending happened in real estate also, and at a much higher level to reduce the.
And in real estate, there are lots of politician-related issues also.
Not politician, their own P&L issues, right? Large NBFCs controlled by multinational organizations having billions of dollars under management. They are also doing that. They are doing a lot of the senior junior structures. Where in the smaller part, like there is a large around 6, we approach some private equity fund. They say we can lend only 300 crore, we can't do full refinance. Everybody is interested in refinance. So the lender will come, okay, what you can do, you can give 150 crore as a reimbursement and 150 crore as a fresh working capital out of this 300 crore. And we'll become junior. So we'll take out the money only after you are paid. And the project also runs, because most of the projects are viable till it is completed. Even if you go today, want to sell the land, want to sell development rights, you can recover only 25-30%, not more than that. So money will come only at the last, at the time when we are getting your. So I have seen a lot of these things happening, which is stopped by SEBI last year. Like Apollo did with famous NBFC. Then Oaktree did with very large NBFC, wherein
Apollo, which one?
Apollo Global.
Okay.
They did. There was that was in the paper. They took around more than $1 billion of the loan pool from the pyramid lender at half of the cost. 3,500 crore they gave to pyramid lender, pyramid capital. Now.
They had to.
They had to.
Pyramid was not able to sustain 70,000 crore they were doing bad.
So I'm saying the co-lending is there. CFO anyhow try to stop that, anyhow to reduce that. Has to look at the P&L also, because these things will directly hit into your profitability and again take down the share price. So it has to buy time from the market. It has to buy time from the investors. It has to buy time from internal agencies. Give me 2 years, I will fix this. It happens. Or we'll start making additional provisions. So it has to take that also. Because he knows, like in Pyramid case, CFO must be knowing they may not be able to recover whole 7,000. There's a time of 3 to 4 years when he will build the provision. So maybe at the end, every loan account is getting mature. He can pass on little more GS and then overall things can be balanced. Right now, he must be generating good amount of profit. There's a DHFL book. If housing finance book is at a very high cost, maybe 13-14%. When others were lending at 9 or 9.5, or maybe it had reached 1.5. So now, so in this case, everywhere in most of the organizations have to be like Wondership. There were a lot of stuck with the Amazon, lot of stuck with the Flipkarts. So they were not ready to that money. We that all return there are damage. You can take them as maybe a scrap because the products were damaged or your products were faulty. So we want to do the continue. Said okay, let us share. So I went there, we negotiated the price, 50 was shared, and again I started creating the provision for 2 years because board mandated me because we are going for next fundraise. We can as a hit. So we just slowly pass it on to plan. So again, the growth strategy, all this corporate governance, business requirements, everything stops at the finance because the P&L is your mirror, balance sheet. So all the financial statements, how healthy your balance sheet is because you also look at the parts below in the balance sheet, which are contingent.
Now you mentioned about Piramal Enterprises. In the official financial reporting of Piramal Enterprises, they took a long-term NCD, long-term at a low cost, locked in rates for 10 years at 8.25%. So they have access to low-cost funds. Now fundraising, no NBFC can do, I think, below 9%, right? Maybe upwards. And those who want low, like SBI, HDFC are refusing. They said, we don't want our blended NIM to come down. And another point is the company has announced a buyback. And yesterday was the date for the buyback on shares at over 15% over the current market price. So they have ample liquidity and also access to low-cost funds, and plus possibly of getting a high-profile investor for lending for Monday. But they got a bad hit, including one of the Andheri projects. They were able to get the land. You will be knowing about it. They were able to get the land in their name. Otherwise, the hit could have been even larger. Those were type of what do you call it? Greedy rates for lending. Sometimes, the rates look very attractive. How do people do it? And now they have a risk management policy, maximum 200 crores for big ticket lending. Okay. Earlier they crossed 1500 crores also to single customer. Yeah, more than that. What is the amount? Yeah, I know. 2200 I was aware of to the account you mentioned. Now official board policy, maximum 200 per Retail is digital, it takes time and they are scaling it up. Yeah.
So again, globalization also giving a lot of challenges and reporting also. Because I was part of Crompton Week and overnight we bought one company in Europe and that added around 25 different companies having operation in 25 different countries. They had taken in, it was, I'm talking about 2006. So they had taken one, so overnight we had to change, or maybe overnight, but we took around 15 days for a new MI system. Wherein different countries are reporting into their own currency, having different. And again, I have to brought down to rupee by Mr. Thapar and our MD at the rupee level, what we are doing at. The whole MI system is changed. But somewhere having SAP, somewhere not SAP, there was no proper connectivity. So what is stabilized? Everything went to single SAP. So again, CFOs are also interested with transformation, not just CFOs, chartered accountants. So Loda transformation here is a chartered accountant.
What's the name?
His name is Manish. So transformation is not at just processes, it is actual what is happening in the site, what is happening. Because in Wondership, I have to visit warehouses, look at the warehousing policies also, where they are stocking the scrap, because there is always chance that some good material will go into scrap at a scrap value. So having that physical movement also somebody looks at. So I have to visit our construction site also. Because a lot of our lenders, they are all funded by the American companies. So they have to follow a lot of ESG norms. So we are tied up with Swami Fund for our project. So they are funded by IFCs. So a lot of the requirements from IFC from the ESG point of view, we have to go look at the site where those are getting implemented in the right spirit. Because we can always obtain a certificate at some cost, even and certify that. But again, there will be surprise checks, and we should not get caught at the wrong time, wrong. So again, it's all business partnering, which I mentioned earlier, a lot of part. We always call as a discussion with other departments, but it is not just discussion, it is all business partnering, maybe sales department, production department, or supply chain management, procurement, IT. Because IT somewhere is the backbone of all the organizations, wherein a lot of things can happen. So in most of the organizations these days, the SAP implementation again core task or any ERP integration or ERP implementation is a core task to finance department. Nobody else understands it end to end. So a lot of the companies in membership we did integration over 8 different softwares into an ERP. So there are different business segments that are having different softwares, like direct to home, which is called multi-level marketing, then general trade, modern trade, or this police canteens, e-commerce. So there's a having managing independently. So data was again copied into Excel, uploaded into Excel. If there is a delay, then there are chances of misreporting of the P&L, misreporting of the inventory, getting something sold which is not available, and something which is available is not getting sold. And lot of maybe a siphoning of the stocks at institutions level. So our brand outlets were having working on different cost model, right? DPH on so we integrated it, and again integrated the CRM also with that. Which is front end. So all these spare part movements started flowing, and the people at the remote sites also can look at what spare parts are available at HO, what's at TV, and other locations. So that the spare part movements also started, because after sales is very important in any manufacturing, any consumer durable or any automobile or everywhere. So this having known what inventory is available from the server, that was also important. And we also integrated Shopify. You must be aware of the Shopify. Shopify is a sales platform. You can plug in all your requirements and you can have your own website which is able to sell. So again, it is integrated with any payment gateway. Like you have PayU, you have or financial technology has some. That we integrated ERP also. So all information started getting processed seamlessly. Somebody books any product at Wondership site, it was getting booked into P&L, invoices was getting generated. They were given to warehouses to dispatches, again collections were again recorded. So end to end we were able to manage. So any product unique number you can tell, we are able to show is unique journey.
In which company?
Wondership.
What is the typical risk? What is the issue of error?
Wondership. So in Britannia, there is 2% always there. That's why when stock take comes, there are two different. There will be auditor will do from water sheets available compared with the shelf and again shelf to sheets. So they follow different models in stock taking.
Well, generally, this auditor is the statutory auditor or separate stock auditor?
This is separate stock auditor also. Okay. So we had appointed stock auditor, did our EBOs. So there are specialized teams. We do this only, stock verification and fixed verification. So that is their core. They don't know anything else. And it was formed by ex-Future Enterprise guys. They were doing the same job. And there are problems in the job, so they started this. So again, Hari Bhakti has also started similar division.
Right.
When you Hari Bhakti, something that I stock taking. So do only stock taking.
So that report is authentic by all bank and
the banks will appoint their own auditors.
But it is means credibility issue.
Credibility. They will believe only the stock auditor.
Only the
because once in a 6 months, the stock auditor they will count on a test basis. Look at the costing, what you are following, and then they give it.
So generally, which software do you use for all integration of these sites, labels, stock?
There is no SS software. There is an API. In every API. So
API, I don't understand.
So there is a Shopify, for example, and there is this Dynamic 365 ERP was there. So together with this board development team, we have to develop an API which will integrate.
We know a software like Tally and like so. What type of software do you use?
So for retail, as such, for retail, everybody relies on the O365, Dynamic 365, which is known software which can integrate. Because what happens, every business requirement, a lot of business have the SFDC, Salesforce. with the famous Salesforce. Again handled by SAP. Integrate SAP, your ABAP development. So CFOs, the finance department again are part of the core strategy because earlier there was like top-down approach. Things will come from the top. We have entered, we start having the books of accounts there, recruit accounts officer there. Now, where we want to expand, which product we want to expand, now the finance CFOs are always there. But they also come out with a lot of the where we are having good margins, where we are having good depots, or where the sales location at what freight cost available. So again, pricing, again, maybe tax to reach any of the location sales locations. So that finance department is very well aware as compared to any other department because they are into it. We are making 33% margin here, but the cost of freight is going by 3%, 4% by opening. You have to look at what margins we are passing on distributors are there, at what price that we are selling for those modern trade locations. So those distributors, they have all information together, they have to apply and convert. So again, typically over the period, not just Companies Act, but also a lot of other reporting requirements in this. We talked about the Companies Act also has come out about the CSR reporting. Because right now there is no much penalty, but a lot of investigation, a lot of checking is happening why CSR funds are not getting spent or not getting blocked. So, and everybody, right from the chartered accountants who have just entered or having some leadership responsibility to the CFOs, everybody is facing a talent or shortage of the right kind of talent. Because people are trained somewhere, but they want to venture into somewhere. So there are always a lot of aspirations to change, a lot of aspirations to grow, a lot of aspirations to start on a. So that is creating a lot of the talent gap. And people are also facing the same. So they find out somebody. The shared services arrangement. A lot of multinational, lot of conglomerates are venturing into the shared services. Then foreign multinationals are coming to India and having their GCC. Not just for the R&D, but for the accounts and finance. Also, where the central in India or Mumbai, we have the JP Morgan Stanley, and the shared services spread over maybe not less than 2 or 3 million cities. So these things actually started from the CFO. Okay, how that gives a single process everywhere. The reporting also at a JP Morgan chairman level can come out with a single sheet, a single worksheet. You don't have to the India report, Europe report comes at a single dashboard. So that is possible when you consider it having at the right talent, develop them, retain them. Right now, it is not important to maintain. It has become important to retain them. The retention costs are very high as compared to the
because the efficiency also goes up. Now that current team knows the entire organization, the way they work, and new team will come.
But what giving somebody something in addition creates a little bit challenge for the others. They will say, why we'll stay? Again, reason.
The talent management is the biggest right now because everyone has aspirations and you have forward. So as a CFO and ultimately end of the day, you have to deliver the basic thing called balance sheet, and that becomes a problem. That's accounting. End of the day, you have to do account. And another is mainly the regulatory lapses risk. That's the comes at a very high financial cost, and that's very difficult to justify to board saying that okay, we lapsed. We didn't, this compliance was not done. When CFO was not aware this compliance had to be done. The business for everything, exactly. Even for a board, he is responsible for everything internally.
That way, even auditors are made responsible under company level.
I met one of the founders of Fintech. He had printed on his card. CEO, and bracket it was written Chief Everything Officer. Yeah, because he said Chief Everything Officer. Because right now I am doing Xerox also, right now I am preparing, I am delivering also, everything that I am doing because right now just started. So Must be something we'll have to maybe develop for CFO.
No, actually, this deliver an important document, and you send it with the peon. He doesn't know. गाना गाते गाते जाता है, and then he calls you at 6 o'clock. Sir, वो shutter बंद था. No, that is next time the CFO himself goes to deliver that because he doesn't want to take that chance.
But, this line is also very nice. Chief Future Officer. Chief Everything Officer and Chief Future.
So again, you can write into ChatGPT whether ChatGPT can replace CFO. So ChatGPT itself will say no, we can't replace CFO. So it has given reason also. I have tried to summarize that. Okay. So it says we lack domain-specific knowledge. We can do number crunching, we can do millions of transactions, number crunching, but we lack the expertise of that.
Human factor.
Then we can't take the judgmental call. We can always give you, yes, this is the suggestion, this is the output. You have to decide what is the best, 4 options available. So again, that judgmental call, ChatGPT, blockchain, AI, no can take. So there is emotional intelligence. The data will tell you that this person has done a fraud. But once you are working with him for so many times, looking at his behavior, what his face is showing, what his overall maybe his angry is, what looking at it, anybody can say he must not have done that, must have happened maybe because of some mistake or something. Yeah. So that thing, that emotional intelligence is lacked in ChatGPT or all any kind of and external factors. They will not take into external factors. If this decision is taken, what is going to get wrong or what is going to be disaster.
So do you use this actually in your company's business?
Which one?
What you are talking about, latest technology?
Latest technology, we are having SFDC integrated with SAP.
Acha. Okay.
So all sales inquiries, right from sales inquiries for particular flat, to what price was available, who salesman has attended, so everything is recorded right on SAP. Whole journey right now is profitable. But SFDC being very flexible in terms of pricing, we don't use direct SAP model. So why ChatGPT, algorithm, blockchain, these kind of are important things. The heavy lifting they do for you. Then you can always give the low cognitive work where no much of the intelligence is required to this AI ChatGPT and have your finance resources free for a lot of rewarding work. Like they have to start new office or new location. So what kind of, whether it is correct or not, right? Or what kind of inventory number, what kind of inventory levels are required over there. So that kind of work can be given to finance function rather than doing in what area, in what city, how much we are selling. And it reduces human error also. So real-time modeling of once if you are doing budgeting, you must have done budgeting from your own, or if you've done budgeting as a CFO or as a finance function, you will always say, or CEO will say, or CFO will say, assumption. Change his assumption. So maybe 10, 15 assumptions are there, then you'll have to buy certain time. So give me some time, maybe 2 days, they will come back to you and do this. But once you have budgeting based on AI, this is possible real time. And a lot of ChatGPT based budgeting modules or AI based budgeting modules are coming, which will be helpful for finance function assets, right from the SME and to larger organizations. Every of those will be helpful. So why we require CFO business partnership? So everybody, all businesses aspire for the profit because that is the heart. So improving the profitability, meaningful information, timely availability that is required, risk assessment and mitigation of the risk that is required. So that's where the business partnering role of the CFO is important.
Criteria. Can I ask you?
Yeah.
So as far as this criteria, as far as construction line is the major risk is the input cost. So maybe steel or cement. So now one can compare, if I can compare between 2016 to 2023, steel prices has been shooted from 35 kg to almost 70 now. So in financial world we know forward lena या dollar को hedge करना, आप लोग कैसे करते हैं? जैसे अभी steel 35 से 70 हो गई, उसका hedging कैसे करते हैं?
So large real estate organizations are taking the help of LME, London Metal Exchange, wherein they are doing the hedging. Large manufacturing organizations are doing the hedging because one side they always book a fixed contract for their material, say
Now
having
sale
a
कर दिया,
copper,
flat
steel,
तो sale कर दिया, दोबारा
and then
issue
they
कर दिया.
intimate कि this is the kind of material we are getting or we will be procuring next 2-3 years made up of this much of the content. Steel, copper, cement. Cement is not that way traded on LME, but all metals are traded over there, and that is also a large factor. So, in basis of that, then they are told, well, we are taking so much of the material, so you know to apply all the hedging strategy, that kind of contract. Because in one of my organization, which was in WTG, we used to deal or we used to hedge an LME for the copper. Because a lot of copper material was involved, and copper that way gives a good return. And once you hedge it, because all others are very volatile. But
But while building the model, when will the real estate also assume some sort of inflation, like say 10%? Because they can't go by the official government types numbers where you can presume 4% of inflation. That won't set off much of risk.
So budgeting. This is gone through budgeting. Because once we are doing the budgeting for the construction for the project.
How much percentage assume?
So there are two different percentages are assumed. One is a contingency and one is the escalation. Because what you are talking about is only material, but then there is a labor component also. So we have to add 5 to 6% minimum to the escalation cost. Escalation cost will include your labor escalations, your material escalations, and any other escalation that. And then there is a contingency of 5%. So anywhere once we are finalizing the budget for any project, minimum 10 to 11% is a part which are kept separately to manage the future cost. So what we do for say you are asking about cement. So what a lot of big developers are starting, we are also developing. We are having the RNC plant near to our projects. So that reduces the freight cost. We are not able to reduce the concrete cost, but large part of the freight cost, which is included as a part of RMC bringing to your site, we are able to reduce that. So a lot of developers are doing that. They are giving 2 or 3 acres separately. You have to go apply to your municipal corporation for starting that batching RMC plant.
Captive consumption.
So those things you have to look at the site, how much years it is going to take place. Then get one contractor on board, get one license in your name for starting the RNC plant and run the RNC plant.
तो उसमें अगर समझो प्लांट आपने डाला बट सीमेंट का तो कॉस्ट हो ही है.
So again,
तो उसका validity is 6 months or 3 months. But how do we because the main ingredients is the cement for sure. I think if one can see, 210 रुपए बैग था 400 रुपए. Now almost 330-20 तक घूम रहा है. So if you see calculator 60% jump है. तो 60% मेन सीमेंट में, पर वो तो सीमेंट एकदम बेसिक मटेरियल हो गया कंस्ट्रक्शन में. तो इसमें आप कैसे नहीं?
So it has to manage to pricing only first of all, and again with the criteria it is a cash flow. The issues are all cash flow based. So we are tied up with the infra market, because infra normal any other cement supplier will not give any much credit more than maybe 7-10 days, but infra market will pay for 90 days, 120 days. The famous unicorn in this space, they may be knowing the market, which is called again in the business name is Hella market. So again, working capital management is again part of risk management. As you said, costs are increasing, but by budgeting, regular reviewing it, and then giving suggestion to the sales guys to sell it faster. But as you increase the velocity, the collection will increase, and collection increases, you can actually complete the project maybe a shorter duration. So any developer, for him is important that he completes the project very fast. So all the escalations, all the contingencies are getting ready. And again, the regulatory risk is there. One fine day, government came out from 1st April 2019, whatever the projects are there, you will not get input tax credit. And input tax credit is at much higher GST levels. That at some of the IMC levels are 28% GST that we reached 18%. So again, the regulatory risk in terms of GST is very high. So we have to manage that also. So what we did, most of the real estate organizations, we went and started or sold 1 or 2 flats in the projects which were having the CC, and immediately whatever the projects were registered as on that date were eligible for input tax rate, and those projects were supposed to get registered into GST. We registered them. So again, those model tactics are very important.
We need to quickly get through the same day.
The costing, I think the selling price is not fixed.
So you can quickly just do some.
Yeah, definitely.
Achha, tell me, when you talked about this thing, CC, etc., from a RERA angle, now it has been coming widely known in public domain thousands of projects are not RERA compliant and also bogus documents, etc., etc. My question was from context of a CFO. What is the risk to the CFO position in view of such things? Now, you will look at interaction with other business heads. You will look after MCA, compliances. You look after financial reporting in terms of audit, right? Audit committees that you will take care of, right? Internal audit is there based on statutory. But to the CFO, what is the risk in such cases? One is in terms of penalty, in terms of that prison sentences also. Because you are at stake, you are in position, and your colleagues might have done it. So how does it actually took place practically?
That's a regulatory cost lapses is a case.
Including RERA.
In RERA. So I'm talking from the RERA point of view, what we do.
Not only your, I'm talking about the whole industry. There are, yes.
So something like that, you have to follow certain guidelines and you'll not fall on the wrong side of the law. There are always you can fall on the right side of the law, like conservative approach. There is no penalty because just business will suffer. But the CFO has to manage this board. Like RERA that we're talking about. We can't sell unless and until the project is RERA approved, even though it has a CC. So we have to look after how much steps that are taking. But starting sales is very important, and also very, very important is not to sell before we get a RERA. In filing the RERA on time is again our responsibility. Because if you don't file the RERA reports every monthly, every quarterly, the sales can stop. They can stop your sales. So it starts before end of the quarter, it starts before end of the month, or it starts before the completion of the TDS cycle. You have to file, you have to say, no, this report has to be uploaded. Because everything is linked to RERA. You can't withdraw any money from the RERA account unless and until you have a certificate that cost has already been incurred.
But actually, 70 to 80% people are not doing it.
Yeah, everybody is doing it. Otherwise, other bank is stopping. No, banks are automating. HDFC has automated. They have informed us. What is your last RERA certificate?
HDFC is a partner, then it happens. But it's a very large sector. There are lakhs of players in the business. A category, B category, C category.
But again, it is part of bank's responsibility also. They have to stop that.
No, but banks will do whatever they can. But how, as a CFO, what risk you foresee, or you feel you are safe?
No, I'm never safe. No, very safe.
No, seriously.
Because I think everybody, all CFOs who are doing the wrong thing can be imprisoned also. Like the signing of the wrong financial statement, signing of the wrong P&L balance sheet. There's a penalty provision.
No, it has happened in the sector.
It has
due to RERA or due to GST or due to?
Due to RERA, nothing has happened.
That's what we wanted to know.
Yesterday only I was reading there are against 3 chartered accountants, the investigation has started by RERA for giving wrong certificates.
That's it. Yeah.
But again, CFO
in real estate industry,
because that
in real estate sector.
In real estate. Because
in
CFO
Western region, Bombay
must have given that wrong information.
Yes, true.
Because the RERA found out from them. But again, what happens?
And what are the consequences?
Here,
if wrong,
in case of RERA, no CFO goes.
No, in these 3 cases you
promoter
said.
Goes.
In these 3 cases, who goes?
Chartered accountants and promoters.
No, then what is our penal provisions?
The project is immediately stopped.
No, but nothing happens to them, the CS?
CS. No, CS, there is
penalty or prison?
No, they can go to ICI. Or they are found criminal, and criminal court has to decide what they have to do. Whether they have done the purposely or they are done basis of the disclaimer or the
No, to RERA may under what is the provision for penalty and
their license can be cancelled. They will be debarred from certifying for anything.
Only that, civil, no prison cases, right? Okay,
because they are
that's important. No, NFR is for large listed companies, large listed. In fact, NFRA senior officials have said even Baiju is not covered under that. It's a large case. They said we need a referral. In fact, they said you help us get a referral. A ministry, government has to give a referral under so and so guideline to cover it. They can't do anything.
Correct.
But often RERA and GST has a highest powers actually.
No, but they are saying
RERA is very out of people. No? Every alternate week you can see in newspaper that people are getting dates after a couple of years.
Yes.
They don't have
minimum 15 to 18.
RERA, if someone is filing a complaint, he won't get even a hearing for another 2-3 years.
And reconciliation, there is always reconciliation happening. The reconciliation member is always another developer.
So you said promoters, there's a consequence on the promoters,
Yes.
not much on the CFO.
Much on the
Okay. No, that's important actually.
Because in RERA, everything is
The residential projects, nowadays big projects are coming up, like Pune, Bangalore and all that. So the possession date is something like 3 years or 2.5 years from now, like, and they charge about 40 to 50% at the time of agreement itself.
correct.
So how does it cover, number one, the customer? That suppose the project gets delayed or suppose there is some problem. So that is one aspect. Second aspect is that if the possession is going to be done after 3 years or so, then how the builder covers this cost aspect?
That's why a lot of builders were getting caught at the wrong time. Because earlier there was no RERA, there was no control on the bank account withdrawal. So people or the developer used to withdraw all 40-45% what just at the plain level and investing into other land. And this project is getting stuck, so they all the chain stop. So even Kalpatu, like developer, Kalpatu size developer, they are getting blocked into that. Lot of developers.
That's it, one Thane project, no?
In every lot of family.
Just last Sunday, I visited one project. There they said that okay, 10% you have to give before signing of the agreement. And after signing agreement, I think something like 30-35%.
Yes.
So about 40-45, or in some cases 50% is given within 2-3 weeks of signing the agreement. And possession is after 3 years.
Sir, because वो engineering के language में ना plain तक वो 40 तक complete कर रहे हैं.
3 years is okay. Actual cases are there among large organized ones, large ones, even bigger than this builder. 7 years, 10 years, 12 years. Actually, there are cases. 3 years for safe.
RERA says only
6,
10%.
another 6 grace period is fine.
At the time of booking, maximum you can take 10%.
That is maximum.
That is the maximum. But once you enter into registration agreement, everything that booking terms goes up. So you can developer can collect 100% also. But again, if you see from the customer point of view, if developer is offering you 15% giving upfront, which is getting completed 3 years, no customer will go and complain to government.
They do. Many do.
I'm getting benefit. Nobody will go and tell government that I'm getting benefit. But they once they charge any developer, I'm being a developer, I can say that.
Yeah.
But somebody takes advance money from you, customer will always go and say कि मुझसे पहले पैसे ले रहा है प्रोजेक्ट तो 3 साल बाद दे रहा है. Same developer अगर आपको discount दे देगा, you look always.
But they give price benefit.
They give price benefit.
Now this we are in BKC, one of the top most reputed builders across the road. Seasons Rustamji. The first time it was launched. First time, 80% payment at 15,000 rupees. But the point is approvals took time. First time, and then it happened suddenly 22,000 rupees. But then you are taking a risk. Then it becomes an unsecured loan effectively. But the point is, you feel you are saving 30-40%, and within 1 year approval hoega.
RBI stop that.
All these. So officially, as a finance person, it will be unsecured loan.
Yeah.
And then you do agreement.
But unsecured loan on the balance sheet of that customer. No builder was getting.
No, it will come on the builder also.
No. That's why RBI stop.
So yeah. So
other developer was taking the responsibility, RBI would not have.
Not RBI. RERA came into the picture. RERA said after approval, then you take. Yeah. Otherwise, you can always take unsecured loan subject to limits of the MCA, whether you are listed on.
It was problem of they have the leasehold land. That's why they were selling it cheap.
Never.
So that is some 60
percentage of completion में
how many more sites?
1 or 2, sir.
So you covered, because this is such a vast topic. Once everybody starts interacting, in fact, there is a request for one more session. You cover practical issues, construction and redevelopment also.
Yeah.
Cover. Let's do these things.
Third floor तक ये 40% कैसे कर सकते हो? You need to have at least 15%.
So now I come across couple of projects. One fellow was taking 45, another was taking 49. Just after signing of agreement, within say about 3 or 4 weeks.
Yes.
तो अगर इतना ले लिया तो उसका तो पूरा पैसा आ गया. तो कस्टमर को तो रिस्क है. वो 3 साल तो मिनिमम है वेट करना. उसके बाद में 4 भी हो सकता है, 5 भी हो सकता है. Now you will say, see my previous projects. Previous तो अच्छे लगते हैं, लेकिन previous का कोई गारंटी नहीं है कि भाई वो जो बना तो ये भी बनेगा. What is the recourse here?
The recourse first you have to approach RERA. RERA will give you timeline. If it doesn't give timeline, you have to approach consumer court.
Timeline तो देता है. वो बोलता है RERA को मैं दिसंबर बोलता हूँ, लेकिन आपको मैं सितंबर 26 में दूँगा.
Have you been to RERA? Have you made a complaint?
No.
Okay. No, records the RERA, he's saying, and then you can go to the
Consumer code.
consumer code.
No, what you say is, I will give you positioning as per RERA December 26, but my target is September 26. तो वो बोलता है मैं जल्दी दूंगा, लेकिन मेरे को doesn't matter, क्योंकि वो anyway it is 3 years from now.
Interestingly, we went to one RERA court about one property. RERA almost took the case after 2.5 hours, 2.5 years. Okay. Then afterwards, we fought almost 6 months, 7 months. Then they give a one-sided order on that builder, where they have told the builder that you need to give back all the money with the interest of 12%. Otherwise, you will liable to pay the 1 lakh rupees penalty per day. If you Google it, it will come in this one.
But RERA has authorization ahead of the surface.
Per month, per day का वो बिल्डर आया ही नहीं.
Most of the cases they are not coming at all.
अभी एक दिन का 1 लाख रुपया पेनल्टी बिल्डर आया ही नहीं है. उसके बाद हमने वापस से अप्रोच किया रेरा को, तो 1 साल चला गया. उसके बाद रेरा ने ऑर्डर क्या दिया इधर लोकल इसको कलेक्टर को, ये बिल्डर का लैंड भी ढूंढो, उसको बेचो और इनका पैसा दे दो. ये ऑफिशियल है, गूगल में भी न्यूज में. उसके बाद कलेक्टर ने सो गया, कलेक्टर को मालूम ही नहीं उसको क्या है कुछ नहीं. उसके बाद वापस हमने अप्रोच किया, फिर कलेक्टर को लिटर उन्होंने समन्स किया और उसको टारगेट दिया कि बॉस तुमको 3 महीने का टाइम देते, अदरवाइज यू विल बी आपको पर्सनली हेड ड्राइवर करेंगे. तब जाके उसने प्रॉपर्टी ढूंढा. प्रॉपर्टी ढूंढने के बाद ऑप्शन करने का जब टाइम आया, एक दिन पहले दूसरा कोई पार्टी के खड़ा हो गया कि ये लैंड ऑलरेडी मेरे को मॉर्गेज है.
yes.
ऑप्शन कर सकते. अभी जस्ट इमेजिन करो सर, सिस्टम उनके पास है, कलेक्टर है, उसको सब मालूम है, तो कैसे उसको पता नहीं कि लैंड किसी और को बेच दिया है या उसको मॉर्गेज रखा है. कोई सिस्टम नहीं. बस अभी वो हो गया, उसके बाद और 1 साल चला गया, कुछ नहीं, नो एक्शन. This is actual.
Yeah. Many such cases. Yes, here you said one cases. There are cases where there are mortgage to 10 bankers also.
But how?
And it happens on the last day. Acha, this is a case of a active builder or no, building is still under construction. Or abhi wo he's not able. There are many.
Tell you the name later.
No, that's fine. But today 9 out of 10 cases are builders who are now out of the system.
Sir, but sir, I tell you one thing. Builder never goes out of the system.
No, there are many. 9 out of 10.
Change the brand name. They only change the.
No, most of the small builders are actually gone now.
Incidentally, small तो builder है ही नहीं सर, वो तो छोटा ही मतलब.
सर incidentally
एक फ्लैट को 3 लोगों को बेच देते हैं, 4 लोगों को बेच देते हैं.
अभी पॉसिबल नहीं है.
I can add one more thing. ऐसे incidentally उसके बाद हमारे पास एक अच्छा ग्रुप में बंदा है, is very way, तो उन्होंने उसको EOW में इकोनॉमिक्स ऑफ इंग्लिश में उसका ये कर दिया, अपना कंप्लेंट कर दिया. सब प्रोड्यूस भी कर दिया. बस रेरा का 1 लाख पेनल्टी, ये है वो है, कलेक्टर इकोनॉमिक्स में ऑफेंस विंग ने उसको अरेस्ट भी किया. दोनों भाई को अरेस्ट किया, 5 दिन जेल में डाला, 6वें दिन बाहर है. क्या बोलता है अभी क्या रेरा, क्या तहसीलदार, क्या ऑर्डर, क्या मतलब है.
And RERA also is state-wise, no? Luckily, in Maharashtra, it's supposed to be. We had a presentation earlier on the platform. Supposed to be far better. Yes. Supposed to be.
There is no manpower.
No, we know, but comparatively, all India level, Maharashtra is far ahead, right?
We are not delegating it.
Other states are trying to emulate.
Somebody has to see the facts on this one.
Yes.
Economic wings हो गया, RERA हो गया, collector हो गया. What is the output?
This what else? There are lots of in this CFO and this industry. There are lots of issues. Okay.
How does the revenue recognition happen?
Revenue recognition happens in all organizations. Auditor and CFOs sit across and decide how much.
Auditor. Actually, there's one issue which everybody has.
Is it the completion of the project or after the CC is given, or it is the completion?
Actually, there is one issue which everybody has. You answer in a best practical way. This industry has a lot of corruption issues. Everybody is saying it's all open. Government is aware of it also, and government is trying to this ranking, ease of business is trying to go up. But there is a system. So how does this is handled officially? Because we are professionals. As a CFO, how does one handle that? There's a lot of corruption. So, and there are A-class builders who have come in to today. Today, it has become listed. Earlier, it was unorganized. Today, it is getting organized. Large players are coming, like you, Godrej, Mahindras, So the system is improving. transparency is also improving. So how is
So
this
generally,
actually handled?
With the help of IT only, information technology, we can actually control. So in our organization, what we do, we generally go through what are the latest booking happening. If there is something, some bookings are within range or not. The certain portion, we always, because of this earlier practices, the builders are infamous. That they
Both on revenue side and
most
also on
of
cost
the,
angle.
Most of the revenue side it happens. I have seen practically, lot of the corruption happens at the sales level, not at the purchase level.
Okay.
I have gone through it.
Okay, yes.
Retail also, real estate also, like salesman, any salesman you are visiting at a real estate office or real estate developers sales office, they will say you, this building is say X rupees. You give me certain portion in cash.
Yes.
This will be X minus maybe 3x, 2x of the
whatever.
cash.
Yes.
So these things are generally not reflected in the financial statement unless and until we go through all the booking forms. So all the current bookings we go through, we look at the range, what is happening. Then the separate team is kept which generally visits all the sales offices without any information. They will go, they will look at all the chats and everything, they will take out and they will see if koi customer ke naam pe kuch alag alag naam pe likh ke chal raha hai. What are informed to us is only there. So it is all through the systems and with the help of human intervention. You can't stop these practices without human intervention. So a lot of things are required statutorily to be done, which statute authorities don't allow unless and until they are given certain benefits of the net. So again, the responsibility of the benefits to be given to them, that's with CFOs. So we try to do something which is not, which doesn't look as a corruption, which doesn't look as a cash transaction, because there are a lot of benefits that we can pass on to agents.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm coming to. How
architects, chartered engineers, always give certain additional bill to them, and they do whatever they want.
Proper, and they are part of an organized setup.
Have all these transactions through various bills. Which is having proper GST registration.
Right.
Now, currently, there is a raid going on in Kalpataru, may have stopped also.
Yes.
So they have found certain 600 crore tax evasion.
Yes.
From GST point of view, from income tax point of view, because they must not have taken that care.
Correct. Yes.
And all these bills then becomes always a proper part of the budget. They are always been supported by the proper work orders, supported by purchase orders. Because tax authorities, when they will do the audit, they will say, कौन सा bill तुमने without purchase order work order pay किया है, because वही रहता है, that is the bill, that is the work order invoice which is paid, is used for in outside or which doesn't have proper GST number. So proper GST number, proper PAN number, we ensure it is fed into system once we are doing all this, and we do it through known. Because anywhere you have to pass on the benefits. Or any country doesn't work without any benefits, pass it on to the respective state.
How many hours a day the work is, CFO's work?
In terms of?
How many hours a day?
I think all 7 days, it's not counted in hours.
No, in a day. Seriously,
sitting in the office, you will say 10 hours.
9 to 10 hours.
But the message can come into 10:30, 11 in the night.
Okay.
Tomorrow 10, we have to meet somewhere.
That's from the boss.
From the boss.
That's okay.
The promoter was overnight. Problem is that.
No, that's okay. It's not. It's okay.
Preparation करना पड़ेगा ये सब. और some of the times, the unfinished work bothers you. When you go home,
because as the finance in most of the real estate infrastructure industry, the finance is the 1/3 of your input. Because your money is going to come only at the end. Money is going to recover only maybe once you complete 80-85% of the work. But for the inputs, again, input is finance. After the land, labor is always available. You pay, labor gets available. Material you pay, it gets available. It has its own tax when it is coming back.
Achha, share some thoughts. This is lots of people are interested in even other real estate issues you can ask, because this wealth of knowledge practical you have.
Satnam sir's question I will answer. Revenue recognition
and revenue recognition, and also something your thoughts on actual developments in redevelopment. And large developers are going in for that.
Remuneration also in the respect of Ind AS now, because that is actually going to change the way revenue is getting recognized.
So Ind AS 115, the latest one which has come, which gives the revenue recognition practices for the real estate. Earlier we were following the guidance note.
Yeah.
Because but the other side, the income tax doesn't recognize the completion method. But the conditions which are required as per India are such like that all the risk and rewards are passed on to customers. You have received full money, then you can recognize the revenue.
You have received
all the money, all the money.
Received money,
and
not building is complete.
Both
both are separate issues.
Both are together. You have to pass on all risk and reward to the flat buyer, and you have to receive full money.
Okay.
And both things are not possible in present day. But income tax doesn't agree to that. So we have to maintain two different set of calculation while we are calculating the profit. And again, getting caught at the wrong foot when we have completing the project, recognize the full revenue by way of MAT. Because here we will be paying the construction maybe basis of the percentage completion method. So partly again tax we are paying every year. But once the project is getting completed, all profit is getting transferred into PN. So then MAT issue comes up.
Yes.
So unless and until you have MAT credit accumulated with you, again there is a challenge.
Right.
And some projects go on to 6 and 7 years. So at that, it may happen that some other profit, like sale of land, can actually utilize your credit of the MAT. So again, that creates a lot of challenges in the revenue recognition.
So you're saying from a book profit perspective, forget about the income tax perspective, it is at the time of pass on the risk and reward to the buyer, or at the time of when the total payment is received.
This is ideal situation.
Both the conditions have to be satisfied, right? Both the conditions. But how do you measure that the risk and reward has got? If let's say CC that completion certificate is not received, then I guess this condition is not satisfied.
So what developer like us we do? We always approach auditors, tell them, no agreement is happened, it is registered. So all risk and reward are already passed on to customer. Then the auditor asks how we are going to say you are getting this money. So we always give them the housing loan sanction certificate, sanction letter. You see, this particular flat is sanctioned fully. So this finance is fully tied up for developer to get the money. So there is certainty of receiving the money. So now we can recognize the revenue basis of the what work we have completed. So some auditors accept, some auditors doesn't. A lot of large developers, listed developers, they prefer that they do basis of the fully completed basis because they don't want to get into controversy with any of the auditors or any of the regulators. But small developers which are having working capital limits from the bank or they are having, particularly from the PSU banks, private banks understand that all real estate is based on the cash flow. It doesn't look into P&L, any loans. Okay. But when PSU banks, it goes on regular annual monitoring.
Reported.
They will look at the
reported numbers of P&L.
P&L or the profit that you are generating.
Yes. So profit doesn't come for first 4 years possibly.
Even second year they will stop.
Yes.
आपको पैसा नहीं दे पाएंगे, आपका profit नहीं है.
Yes.
And they don't understand because it is not their job to understand what revenue recognition that we are following. They have to follow the credit norms. And they are the separate or the strict CMA format they have to follow.
Yes.
If it is not meeting the requirement, they have to go more in detail.
Yes.
So it becomes very difficult in that case. People don't recognize revenue at a proportionate basis. So that's a challenge.
So which means each flat wise, each unit wise, you have to do the.
Yes.
And so assuming let's say all the agreement has been signed, assuming even the money is going to come or certainty of that, if CC is there, is not there, even then you can recognize, right?
No, we can't sell only. Ideally, we can't sell only. Even if you don't have the CC.
CC is commencement certificate.
Commencement certificate.
Are he talking about OC? OC or completion?
OC, yes, you can't complete the recognition of 100% unless and until you have the OC.
So you can recognize how much if till OC?
Till the OC.
Suppose OC is going to come after 2 months, then how much can you recognize?
Maximum value 99%. Because
99 you can recognize.
Or what are the portion is remaining? Say most of the conditions as well. There is a collection plan which is attached to every sales agreement that you do with the customer or developer. So certain percentage is attached to the OC.
Okay.
So if that is 5%, then builder 5%.
So suppose in practical situation, OC will come after 2 months. 90% is complete. So you have received 90. So when can you recognize profit as far as the banker is concerned?
If you have received 95%, but work is not completed.
No, work is complete, but you are waiting for the official OC.
You can recognize 95% only.
Of profits.
of profits or the revenue
recognition. So you can recognize.
We can recognize
and profit also. 95% of you have 25% margins.
Yes.
So you can recognize that profit.
Yes.
OC may come after 2 months. Actually, OC may come after 2 years also.
2 years also. Yes.
This has happened in this builder you mentioned. In fact, in Keldai, there's a BKC mein there was the exhibition, and this builder you mentioned, the hundreds of customers went and did a morcha which came in the social media.
Today's also running the dosi.
What? No, that is sales. That was a Keldai official exhibition. All 100 top builders were there, and at this reputed builder thing, 100 people organized, and in the inaugural session, the chief ministers were there.
So even our case, there are certain
like to get maximum publicity.
BMC, but it is all regulations like MADA. Because MADA.
Achha, that building was complete, but OC nahi aaya because of it could be any of the issues we discussed.
So no redevelopment topic.
Later. Maybe you want to share now, or you want to have a separate session also. Welcome.
I will share our redevelopment.
Yes. Yes.
So we are developing around 17 buildings. In Thane, redevelopment. It is for MADA.
Okay.
Out of that, Pokhran Road number 2. Sai Baba. Next.
Feel free to ask maximum questions. The maximum insights are coming now. Yeah. 17 in Thane.
In Thane.
And something in Bombay also?
No, not in.
So this BKC, you have some project that's not redevelopment.
We are on mid-income and affordable.
But you have one project in BKC also, no?
No.
Bandra East?
No.
Okay. Nothing in Bombay.
Nothing in Bombay.
Okay.
Because ours are like all Bhajipala, 40-45 lakhs maximum.
Acha?
Maximum
Okay.
flats, yeah.
So no plans for Bombay?
No.
Okay.
We have plenty of land in
You have huge
Govardhan.
market in Thane and Pune. So 17 projects in Thane.
Redevelopment.
Pune?
Only redevelopment.
Yeah. Pune?
Pune, we have all greenfield. There is only one project going on. 3 we completed. One Abhitante, which is 40-acre land. That is under that. And apart from 17 buildings redevelopment, we are also at around 4 places developing different in Ghodbunder.
Development, no complete one so far, no?
They completed. We have already given possession like Purani City Reserve. We have given completion of the 4 earlier phases.
Redevelopment.
Redevelopment only one.
One complete.
17 buildings together.
Has to continue for another 2-3 years.
Yeah, one phase will be getting completed in next 2 months.
Pune में कितने?
Pune में मारूंगे बावधान.
Injawadi.
Injawadi is 10 minutes.
New one, greenfield.
Greenfield.
To Pune, one complete redevelopment project you have got.
No, nothing. No redevelopment.
No, sorry. Ye Thane mein one complete handed over.
There are around 71 societies which are MADA only. So every society has to approach individual developer, finalize a developer, then go to MADA and take their approval. So we got around 17 buildings. So that in that cluster there are 71 buildings. So
okay, one project.
So around 25% is with us.
25%
of that cluster.
Of that cluster. So 17, one single focus project you got the large one. All affordable. You are saying all 45 lakhs.
Pokhran Road is a mid-income.
Yeah.
Affordable are more from the Ghodbunder.
So what you are saying, the 45 lakhs is the maximum, is it?
And Ghodbunder.
So it's all what, 1 BHK?
1 BHK.
All are 1 BHK. Okay.
60-65% are 1 BHK. But then the people slowly graduate also, they like the location. So for them, we have certain portion of 2 BHK.
Okay.
3 BHK.
2 BHK you have? Compact ones?
Compact.
Below
500 we are giving 2 BHK. 500 square feet carpet.
Okay, so no property tax will come?
No.
Also no, max of 500. Okay. And how many are handed over in redevelopment so far?
Redevelopment we are handed over around 120 flats. So 1 building. So next building. Already we are commercial we have received OC, that handover is going on.
Okay.
So next year, 24 till December 24, we will be handing over around 4 more buildings.
Okay. Then December 24.
That is the longest project we ran because we acquired that in 2016. So 3
Okay.
years there was no approvals from MADA.
Okay.
Then
Okay.
the judicial challenge came wherein the additional FSI, that all regulations took time.
Okay.
And builders are generally greedy. They wait for all the approvals, then only they will complete the building. So they will utilize every single FSI square foot.
So in such a case, you said 2016, from the day occupier vacated the flat till handing over, what is the actual experience? How many months?
How many?
From the day of vacation we are talking.
So if ideal cases, like in Malad Gorega, we have seen, because in our area, we have a lot of redevelopment. So it shall not take more than 3 years. After vacation and getting handover,
It should not take, but actually what is your thing?
It ranges from 4 to 5 years. But
4 to 5
developers
years.
like we have in our area, there are developer called Cabra.
There are many who has delivered in 3 years. There are many.
Percentage wise, how many?
25 to 30% on time.
25 to 30% on time. 25.
50%.
Huh?
On time means, promised time is 3 years is the ideal time.
Yes, 25. So 75% are not on time. So this 4-year and 5-year cases, what are the stresses which happen practically?
Practically,
from a builder
So what
angle,
are getting-
customers angle
so
to
what are-
sleepless nights,
so advances, what are they collecting? They are siphoning of the money or they acquire new assets, new land. So that creates a problem.
But RERA is supposed to plug that, no? Escrow accounts?
But
doesn't happen.
30% we can deploy anywhere. No?
Okay. Okay.
That also creates a problem.
Right.
Then they procure wrong certificates.
Okay.
Which are maybe already cost has not incurred. But they will show cost has incurred, take the certificate, upload on the RERA site, give it to banks, and banks will allow us them to withdraw.
So there are a vast number of such people. Got it, no? 75 bogus certificates.
So, but I have seen many builders, they are doing really good.
Exactly, they are going to be black ships. Yeah,
They
they're
don't
doing good. Yeah.
get into all these things. They are always like, if I'm giving a RERA rate of say 26, they will try to deliver it by December 25 only.
Yeah.
There are many. If you go by me, it must be beyond 50%.
Acha, you are saying
RERA may
50% are good, cheap.
More than 50%.
RERA may be always give 18 or 24 per months more. What they are able to complete. So that we don't get into wrong side.
Sorry?
We don't get into wrong side.
Yeah.
Because then the rental and the interest penalization starts. If you don't meet the RERA time. That's right. So always we'll keep certain buffers.
There is sufficient cushion already. Keep cushion. Because they know if there is any beyond there, they are unable to deliver it on time. May not be their intention. They may try to deliver it. उसी नहीं मिला, approval नहीं मिला, कोई corporator आके he said null नहीं ये नहीं submitted.
So, but of late in last 3-4 years, big builders getting into trouble is known. That's why everyone tries to take a lesson out of it. It's not that easy that you can just try to mop up the funds, and that's why those who wants to stay in the game for a longer, they don't get into all these things.
Now, I'll share something latest on real estate in financial reporting and actual issues in NCR region. One of the topmost private sector names, and one of the very well-known high-quality PSU name, and high-quality private sector developer name, market cap also listed over 20,000 crores. And for the PSU also market cap over 5,000 crores. There was a structural defect in the building. Completed. Structural engineer, a structural defect in the building. Now, incidentally, regulator is strict. It happened. Otherwise, so people get away with anything. So there were issues. Chapras, just falling. And now it is quite easy. Anything is there, you take a mobile, you take a photo. And then what? Share it with somebody or post it. It came, highest quality developer. And then the builder came to know. What builder offered? Reputation risk is the best risk, toughest risk in the market. So the builder offered, I will pay back the money. It happened. I'll pay back the money. If you purchase a flat for X amount, I'll pay that thing. Now these people, what should they do? Fine. It's an offer. It's very good. But they said no, because when we bought, this was the cost. And last 2 years, this is a recent case, latest development. Prices have gone up by significantly. So why should I get, if I now, you give me the money, I go to the another high class builder, he will take 30-40% more. So they said no. It happened. Now this happened, what they said, the builder outsourced to contractors. They don't build.
The lift issue.
Huh?
The external lift.
No lift. Actually, in the buildings, there were structural defects. You could see the iron bars and all. It happens. So the builder.
Case where lift was needed for fire, it was not there.
Not lift. Actual construction. So this is in Gurgaon.
No,
I'm telling specifically. Now it's all in public domain because I gave indication also over 20,000 crore market cap. So first is reputation risk, high quality builder who is able to sell on like hotcakes. So people said no, and now he is going to spend X amount because there's a lot of pain. If you vacate for 6 months, also where do you go? So something is going to happen. And the price of that project also, instead of being in a range of maybe 13,000-14,000 per square foot, it came to 10,000 to 11,000 rupees. Now what do you do? Another case reported in your quarterly numbers, and at end of the year it comes because contingent may you have to disclose. Correct? Next one, a PSU company, which order book of over 50,000 crores. Order book of 50,000 crores. I said market cap 5,000 crores plus. Interactive with management. What they said, contingent tomorrow in books of accounts notes. So we have to spend so much, no penalty and all, on rework of the building and pay. So you get X margins. It's now everybody talks openly 25% margin in industry. If you complete it in 3 years, you get good ROE. If you don't complete in 7-8 years because of your costing, it changes. So here in that case, company had to provide for expenditure of 200 crores, which was not the profit, but the company has got a huge net worth. This is happening as a type of financial reporting issue. And regulation. You can guess the names easily. Offline we can even share. This is happening.
NBCC.
NBCC. Yes. And the number one is.
You said that's right.
Yeah, this is it. And another one is now. It's a very attractive company. In fact, they agreed, and they are actually completing this Amrapali's projects because of Supreme Court judgment. That incompleted one, and I believe even of the other uncompleted one, just a few 2-3 days back, that Supreme Court is going to decide and allocate to various developers unfinished housing projects. There are a lot of stall projects. In fact, Delhi is setting the best practices standards for unfinished projects. There are lots of unfinished projects. I believe hundreds of them in Bombay.
Bombay also there are.
How many are there? How many buildings unfinished?
Maybe minimum 60,000 flats are there.
Unfinished. Unfinished. So somebody comes in here. Supreme Court has given to NBFC trusted builder, and they are talking about 8% margins.
But there are in
8% margins are good enough in this business.
There are single projects having a 10 number of flats, like 1,000, 1,500. That's why it becomes easier.
Yeah.
But in case of Mumbai, you will find small buildings are getting stuck, which are having 100, 120 flats only. So dealing in the number of buildings, with number of various developers, it is difficult.
Yes.
But in case of Gurgaon, what are the stuck projects where there are all large complexes?
Large complexes.
Like
So there are thousands of people. Yes.
So one in JP Infra. So JP Infra's project, I think the Suraksha Realty, which is Sudhir Walia's group, they have taken over.
They've taken over, but whether they will be able to complete it, it's a very big risk.
सुरक्षा तो बंद कर देता ना सर बीच में कुछ
नहीं है ना
मिल गया उसको. Now they are taking it mainly.
He used to be very big.
Yeah, so they earlier tied up with BJ Real Estate.
And Yes Bank was always.
But they don't have the money problem because again Sudhir Walia has a huge network. Sun Pharma ka. And from technical point of view, he is this Dosti's Garude is his brother-in-law.
I think Vijayanagari usi ka tha na.
They have actually eye on certain plot of land, a part of it in that prime area next to a lot of IT companies. But the point is when they took this project, the condition was unfinished projects. That stalled one, they had to complete it. Now stalled one, they don't have experience in it. And that is really tough. And NBCC is getting first-hand experiences. And I think they are waiting for another 5,000 to 6,000 crores orders officially through Supreme Court. But luckily, what 8% your margins, because this becomes EPC work, you don't require capital. Land is there and this is there. Only unfinished one, finishing one you do and you get 8% margins is going to be super profitable. It's huge. No, 8% EPC margins. EPC margins are the best. This is all comparable to L&T. Yeah. EPC margins. And plus they are getting 1% marketing margin if they are able to sell the flats. Now 1% of the 80% is 80% is already spent, and you get 1% of the whole value. Just imagine how much impact it comes on the ROE I expect. So that's it. Lots it. What? Anything else?
So in real estate, I will tell you. So REITs were earlier restricted for the large, which were having maybe a building size or building budget fund. So MSME kind of things that they are bringing.
Retail investment part of it.
Again, fintech. So one small fintech or proptech is again a fractional ownership, wherein the small fund kind of a structure are taking over the smaller commercial buildings which are given on rent, and then giving or selling as a part of units of the shares. So there is an individual explication. So to curb, because there is no redressal for any of the issues along for the shareholders who are the unit holders. So they are coming out with the MSM.
Acha, no, Satnam ji, ready?
Yeah.
Anybody else has specific issues? Latest SEBI circular, latest RBI circular, we can discuss, and you have come prepared for a.
G Sony merger.
Which one? Demerger.
G Sony
and Geo. Reliance demerger listing. Anybody can share thoughts on that?
I will need this.
उस पे डिस्प्ले कर हाँ तो वो लगा लो इससे नहीं है
Any latest development issue we can share anything, and you have prepared something, you would have prepared something till 6 o'clock formally. Vote or thanks. After that, informally, we can discuss either here or outside, depends on. So try to get a maximum benefit.
एक बार और प्रेस करेंगे उसको
and I would request a couple of new members joined today, came for the first time, right? So Manoj Gupta, we already shared. If you can share your name and company name and a function of interest. We always have a session. That's how we come to know in the beginning.
I'm
Yes.
Mandeep Singh Talwar.
Sorry?
Mandeep Singh Talwar.
Right.
Qualified in 1996.
Great.
I'm basically into statutory audits. Worked with Dalal & Shah, PricewaterhouseCoopers. And now I'm associate with PP Shah and Associates. He's into FEMA practice and looking after the statutory audit. In charge of the statutory.
Oh, really wonderful. Really wonderful. Until Mr. Satnam Singh starts on his latest development, how you found the participation, interaction, and would you like to share on some topic in the future?
See, like this is the first meeting I have attended. It was good, quite informative, and yes, definitely going forward I will continue.
Really look forward to continuous participation from you, and this is a known to be highly reputed member-driven roundtable, pioneering in the world and in the country across. So the member participates and takes, that's how it has happened and would always remain so. People have said, certainly we want that latest Geo Reliance demerger and this thing latest $10 billion and anything else. Yeah, that's it. And just for information of everybody, there is a consultation paper on by SEBI. Last date is first week of February. First week of September. So look at the consultation paper, and in your own capacity also, one can give suggestions because that's how policies get decided by SEBI. RBI, look at the consultation paper, quite exhaustive. And our experience is because of consultation suggestions, the proposals get changed. It happened in the case of a mutual fund industry. Industry was affected, they went and represented, the whole thing changed. It took 3 months, right? That thing, regulation did not pass. So, and look at that consultation paper on the SEBI side, where first week of September is mentioned if it is not extended. Yeah.
Probably we can start and then.
Yeah. See, this on the update on the Sony merger, right? We all know that's one of the hot topics nowadays in the capital market. So the latest, I'll give the background. See, this merger was maybe more than 1.5 years back it was announced, and it's been getting into the various NCLT, all that stuff. So the basic fact which I'd like to share with you is that promoters hold 4%, 3.99% of the shareholding. 96.61 is with the public shareholders. And the market cap as of now, these only after the run-up which has happened post the NCLT order of the 10th August, is 25,500 crores. So yeah, 25,500 crores. And the combined, with this merger, what is expected that the combined net worth is going to be 44,000 crores. So the combined net worth, which is almost rather 4 times of the current net worth of GE Entertainment. So 4 times, that's what the kind of magnitude of the merger is there. Sony is Sony, and obviously GE also is a big player. So the might of Sony and GE, you can understand that the net worth itself is that. And the merged entity is supposed to have a market share of 27% of the TV industry. The latest what has come up with on 10th August that after all the hangama which happened all these months and maybe 1 or 2 years, 10th August the merger was approved by NCLT because it had ups and downs. Finally, it got approved. But the thing is, now again, IDBI, I think, has filed an appeal with the appellate tribunal. And the first hearing is expected on 31st August of 2023. That's on 31st. So you never know how much time it will take for the NCLT appellate to come to the final conclusion. But that's the latest on that. And apart from the other part of it, that Mr. Puneet Goenka and Mr. Subhash Chandra has been acquired by SEBI, being KMP from this thing. But Puneet Goenka just, I think, 1 or 2 days back only has gone with the appeal with the SAT, Securities Appellate Tribunal. So that's the latest update in terms of the Sony merger, right? In the meantime, the Sony stock, which came down to 170, 180, it's last, I think, in the last meeting also we had a discussion on the and we had seen the chart, right?
I was not there last.
No, not last.
We are discussing several things. As every development, important one, being a $10 billion merger.
So now it's around 270. So I could have shown you the chart because that's quick. Normally, I show the charts of the particular company you're discussssing.
So you can't connect, is it?
Yeah, now the guy.
It's gone. Oh, actually, otherwise you just sit here and connect.
Yeah.
That's possible. But anyway, look at what you mentioned is okay, fine.
Yeah.
And okay.
So, so if you go by the current this thing, it's definitely a big plus from a GE entertainment company perspective, given the kind of the might it will have this thing. And as per my readings on the charts are concerned, it seems that GE has got into, after it's surpassed 220, 24, 225 ways, as I mentioned in the last meeting or last is into the bullish trend now. So that's something which is, that's what the chart says, that in terms of the regulatory update, that's the update right now. And let's see what happens on 31st August. And from there on, let's see what happens in this particular merger.
Great, latest. Anybody else would like to supplement? So Anybody else on this? It's important. It's a $10 billion merger, 44,000 net worth he has mentioned. So I would just add, you mentioned about 10th August. Within 30 days, filing has to be done with ROC and move forward with regulatory other approvals, which takes 2 to 3 months. So today, 16 days are over.
But I don't know whether with this appellate tribunal coming.
No, that's okay. NCLT order is final. Nobody's appealing against the NCLT order.
No,
One second. Yeah. No, they are gone only against for their own part or that loan part. Against the merger, NCLT order has given clear reason for everything, including this. So NCLT merger, it is going through. As far as merger is concerned, this is a small amount. And another thing I would like to add separately. So within 30 days, 16 days are there this weekend. Within 14 days, as of now, both Sony and Z are quiet because they worked on the merger for 2 years. And earlier the competition issues were there, competition, industry and all that. Anything can happen on that. So the now clear is within 30 days, that means by September, by all completion. And one more thing is there, is MIB approval is essential. MIB, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, which it is told Minister of Information and Broadcasting, they have to approve when they receive the NCLT order along with that ROC certificate. ROC was personally present in the NCLT on August 10th. Personally, I am witness to that. So yeah, and they have to give it, and that MIB order will come. That is applicable to all media companies. Yeah. And based on that, that FDI from Sony will come $1.5 billion actually will come. $1.5 billion is how much? 12,000 odd crores, 12,500 crores will actually will come. In addition to that, 1,100 crores of non-compete fees. That was a classified document. Everybody, these people were pouncing non-compete fees document. You shared it. Now it was shared by the company with the 2 judges and the NCLT. They said, give it to us. Last minute, last day. I'm a witness to that. Everybody before others were shouting, give us a copy, give it to it open. So they said officially, sealed envelope. The advocate said, I'll give you a seal envelope is only for the judges. Open is otherwise, it has to be shared with all the other advocates, including BSC, NSC, IDBI, JC Flower, Axis Bank, right? We discussed about that. So that was in a safe, but part of the non-compete fees, that 1,100 crores which the promoter are getting, as per that 1,100 crores will come in the company. So you have $2 billion of Sony plus 1,100 crores to maintain their 4% stake, 3.99. Otherwise, equity goes up on, we become a merger company, higher, bigger company, 3.99 will become lower than 3. So that will come in. So that will add to the cash in the business of 13,000 crores. Part of 44,000 crores.
Company and they will issue the shares.
Yes, so yeah, they will issue the shares. So their shares, their stake continues to at that
on the increased capital
of a bigger company, and based on the calculation, people are talking about as a $10 billion merger, and there were doubts about Sony. What question mark because of competitors? It was discussed several times, and Sony has mentioned in all conferences worldwide, including US and even in their Japan, that we are looking for this merger because we will become a large company. But this thing on 31st, besides this, SATME, Security Appellate Tribunal, on 31st, there is going to be hearing on regulator debarring the 2 promoters from KMP, subject to investigation because they have not been proved guilty. The regulator says 8 months investigation. So their thing is 8 months investigation. Point is, you're not proved guilty. How can, if after 8 months you are saying you're not guilty, so why they should suffer? So ultimately here maybe competition intensity competition will happen, but this will be clear. So idea is M&A keep tracking. So 31st what will happen? Track. Some people they feel question mark. Merger pe question mark hai. Agar question mark hai, that's why if the small correction is there, larger correction is there, it could become opportunity. So you are taking a risk that.
Merger तो हो गया ना, NCLT has approved it.
No, merger हो गया. See, merger NCLT has approved it, but MIB has to approve it. MIB may or may not approve. They were right. The point is,
if they want to appellate tribunal can.
But yeah, minister.
All these things will be endless because all these 6 months, I say, one after the other, the cases are coming up. Now NCLT approval I thought was final.
No, it's nothing is final. MIB approval will come, ROC will come, and the merger takes place. It's a process of 3 months actually. It is officially before the financial year ends, FY24. It will be there. After that thing, they will give the record date. So one of the companies will be delisted. Then actual money comes, and then the bigger company net worth of 44,000 crores, and then a name will come. Now it is Colliver Max Entertainment and Z. Sony company's name is Colliver Max. It is not listed. I feel by paying some X money, 200, 300 rupees, you can get the balance sheets, right? Combine it. You add $1.5 billion of Sony money coming in, add the 1100 crores. I want to see if anybody is going deep dive and taking out that calculation also, and how that $10 billion comes. So, but this is happening. And this latest, even today it came, we discussed it within 3 months. Hopefully you will see a bigger company, but the point is big FDI is coming in, your $1.5 billion here. And last week, 983 crores came from a Bodhi Tree in another competitor. To media sector is bringing in actually over $3 billion from this thing. And last, most just on a lighter note, is it's a celebratory moment today, right? So Gadar 3, Gadar 2, right? Gadar 2. The Gadar 3 is also being planned. Okay. And there is a Kidhar gaya real estate. It's a part of real estate. He's coming, no? Yeah, yes. So just remind me something with the Gadar. And yeah, no, last week. Yeah, no, it is announced now. There is before him, actually, I will share it. He should know. And it is linked to real estate sector. So media sector, people who are saying theaters are getting empty, COVID, getting OTT platform. It just happened. Other movies came. One was a hit. And this has brought the people back. Pathan. And this has brought the people back. And in the people want to go to cinema halls and dance. People who are diehard, they don't want to go. They are also now going, and their families are enjoying it, right? Yeah. So because of this Gadar 2 and another Oh My God, OMG 2, right? And yes, OMG 2.
Oppenheimer and even that Barbie also.
What has happened is because of this pandemic, people slowly became little, I would say, introvert, like kind of, docile. Now that experience of this theater again, everyone is now enjoying.
I wonder how many have seen Gadar 2?
Lot of people.
No, here. You have seen?
I've seen Oppenheimer.
Have you seen?
Oppenheimer.
Good. Oppenheimer and that Barbie doll. Who has seen anything?
I have seen this Gadar.
Yes, see, that's good. Yes. Now he mentioned latest update, which consultation paper, what?
G Studio is producer of.
So we said that discussion can't be complete before Gadar 2. So after that happened, and this thing Gadar 2 in that context, it is produced by Z Studios. Yeah. Not outer. One is this media. It is produced by Z Studios. And I've been monitoring daily connections. That's why I was telling him, you monitor, this is the way to track your stocks, not just charts. Fundamental track karo. First day, second day.
Z Studio is part of Z, or how it is?
Yeah, it's part of Z. Confirm. It's part of Z. And the cost of this movie total is 100 crores. And first day collections we were tracking. And that was a Sunday biggest. And that rival Salman Khan, he said koi movie dekhega nahi. He apologized and he tweeted, congrats and welcome to the 100 crore club, to the star of this. And today it has crossed 300 crores.
More than 400.
Okay, you are the latest? Okay, 400. So, but you not have latest, So first 3-4 days, and I told him, I think you also saw it. I have not seen it. But I interacted with the people, I found to find out data which works on funda. Yeah. So Independence Day and 400 crores. So 300 crore profit. Now that profit will be divided among various people because along with Z Studios, where is Anil Kumar Sharma? Anil Kumar Sharma is the main contributor to Gadar 2. So how much Anil Kumar Sharma has put, how much Z has put, that is internal. We are not gone into it.
Nowadays they are taking percentage
Yeah.
of the total.
Sunny, they will be.
No, their fees are based on the profit part of it.
Sir,
Even Sunny Deol will also get.
Yeah.
Now.
Not necessarily, maybe.
hold on, sir. Sorry? So movies profitability is not calculated this way as we are speaking. Because I was because I worked with AdLab Films Limited. I can safely say.
You worked with
AdLab Films
for how many years? Which years? Which years?
8, 9, 10. When the actual corporation of movies took place.
No, I know. 8, 9, 10, Manmohan Shetty. But
it was with Manoj Shetty.
Okay, all 3 years. Okay, no, fine. I interact with him and I interact with his bankers also.
If 100 rupees is a box office collection, 8% or 20% GST would go to the government.
Right.
Remaining would be 72.
400 crores is a box office collection. 100 is the cost.
72 rupees.
Correct.
72 rupees.
Then there would be theatre share or a market share.
Correct.
50-50.
Correct.
So technically 36 rupees the movie producer will get.
True.
So technically 1/3 of 400, 1/3 would be 133 crores.
Right.
After 133 crores, you will have to deduct the production, marketing, distribution cost.
Right.
And thereafter the profit which remains is to be shared between the director, the financer, and the actor if there are any fees.
Correct. Yeah. So actor, you mentioned the name, director, and the financier includes these studios.
Yes.
Right.
Technically, the 400 is a box office collection.
Director Anil Kumar Sharma. So Anil Kumar Sharma will definitely get, right?
As a revenue recognition to the Z
Production house.
Right.
That is only break even.
No, correct. Now we have to add the OTT to that. We talked about 300 crores, 28% GST. But paisa will come. So this is how profits are made. True, it will come. And OTT will come for a lifetime also. Sholay is still getting money after how many years? Over 30 years, right? 35 years. Sholay, when did it come?
70 or 40, 50.
So the OTT still makes money on that. So this is it. And incidentally, oh my God, also the stock went up. And Dream Girl 2 is coming. Somebody said Balaji Telly, it was 48. 48 has become 65. How is the response? Who has seen Dream Girl? Who has seen Dream Girl 2? So Dream Girl 2, Balaji was 48.
Right.
Look at it.
70, 68, 70. Right.
65 ho gaya. And now depends on the response. Fine. Geo. We already discussed.
So Sony में
नहीं वो तो हो गया. Now we have to track what happens on 31st.
Sir, Jio is also into film production, huh?
Sorry?
Jio has entered film production.
Jio.
Yes. If you have heard this Marathi movie called Baipan Bhari Deva, it is distributed by Jio Cinemas.
Distributed by Jio Cinema. Okay.
Jio Cinema has come.
Okay.
My daughter was saying why
Jio Financial, who can share update?
By when we will come to know finally merger is over? When will we know that merger is finally
No, delisting date. Delisting will come. No.
Sir, practically bolu.
Funding.
Sir, practically.
MIB approved. Sony will bring the funding. Please share.
Correct. Because in AdLabs and this Reliance, when we got money from the Singapore-based entity, then only it was a red dotted line was done, irrespective of the High Court approval, irrespective of Competition Commission approval, irrespective of we signing long-term leases with AdLabs theaters directly. Everything is on hold. You might operate the way you want, but if you got a red dotted line, unless until the money comes into your account and a final go ahead or certificate
after all approval, then only merger is complete. Practically, what is saying is right.
Because
NCLT करे तो दुनिया भर का कोई भी approve करेगा पैसा.
RBPL ने sir.
Yes.
From an investor perspective,
yes.
जैसे ही मेरे हिसाब से मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ ब्रॉडकास्टिंग का अप्रूवल हो गया, मिनिस्ट्री ब्रॉडकास्टिंग कब करेगा जब ROC हो गया, इनकम टैक्स और GST वो सब जो छोटे-छोटे और अथॉरिटी
अप्रूव हो गया.
मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ ब्रॉडकास्टिंग का भी बाद में सर्टिफिकेट जो भी उसको सर्टिफिकेट देना होगा वो करेगा. तो इन प्रिंसिपल अप्रूवल हो गया तो समझ लो कि अभी सब बस उसका फिर पैसा भेजने वाली प्रॉब्लम होता है. सो दैट इज इन प्रिंसिपल अप्रूवल. हाँ 31 अगस्त मेरे हिसाब से RDBI ने अगर एक बार उसका अगर एपेलेट ट्रिब्यूनल ने बोल दिया भाई बस कर, तू चुप हो जा, अभी बहुत हो गया, परेशान कर दिया। अगर 31st को होता है, बट आई डाउट कि 31st को होगा, वो अलग हियरिंग है।
Another date will come. Let it come. Let it come. So point is, people will have to keep tracking. But it is good. One more gem we have discovered on who can share on media and entertainment. At Labs. Imagica के बारे में कुछ बोलने का है? उसने 2000 you are organized.
उसने 2000 करोड़ यहाँ से निकला, वहाँ पर पैसा लगा दिया, हाँ, NCLT में चला गया। So, sir, it is all about how do you see the business, not from a third person, but how an investor does perceive it, how a promoter does perceive it. Example, if Reliance ADAG Group, if it had acquired media, it was from a strategic perspective for communication, media, branding, promotion. So him, if it is a P&L loss, what we see, for him it is a marketing spend, that's it. It's how you perceive it and how you get it.
Your thoughts on Geo Financial?
They have a long way to go. They have a long way to go. They have a long way to go. Because it is not about cost. It is about a cost and service and what is the return which
Aditya,
actually investor will do.
You are on it, yes. Okay.
What a customer perceives it. Because if he is going to retail distribution, mutual funds or insurance, or it is how they perceive it and how they brand and promote the marketing guys. How do they share a TER?
They get into reinsurance, insurance broking, everything.
Getting into it? Reinsurance.
Insurance broking.
Insurance broking. Yes. Yes.
Insurance are getting.
Yes. And what else?
But the mutual fund market is too competitive.
Too competitive. It's good you mentioned that. It's too competitive. It's not easy.
Reliance का पैसा बना ही नहीं है, जनरली आसानी से नहीं बना।
I can't say.
अभी सडनली एक्सपर्ट आता है, कब टाइम ये लैगर्ड रहा है।
नहीं बना है, 18 लाख करोड़ का मार्केट कैप हो गया भाई।
अभी if you see the history, these are not the scripts where money was made consistently. It had spurts.
So what they are saying, 20%, they are given over 20% CAGR, and they are done better than Warren Buffett. And it is proved by facts and figures from the day one when they listed in 1977 till date today, in spite of periods of time when it has not gone up, but the number is over 20%. Long term.
True. So, but then if we so this hypothesis of 20% is based if you have remained invested since 1977 till date. I've studied Reliance balance sheet for 2019-20. Okay, they're consistently debt was in the range of 181 crore to 2 lakh crores. That's after the pandemic when you got the strike. Now I've accumulated more of the debt, and now if I give seed control, say of that below 30% or up to 30%, I can still manage the company, and that's how we invested. That's how we convince those investors to bring in money to pare his debt down, or else even he would have gone I would say Videocon way or this SR way.
Yeah.
Yes. If you see 1920 balance sheet, it is almost 180 crores of debt. Short term, long term.
But that's one part of it. You have to see net debt. They have over 2 lakh crores, and as of today, net debt is below. It's less than 1 lakh crores.
So, but that is time and deposit because of his receivables dollars.
No, whatever. Yeah.
He has refinanced those debt. He has now secured those cash flows against outflows. If you see 1920, that wasn't the case because he went all out spending money for launching.
Yes.
And it destroyed the market.
Yes.
But then when he came to know that even I would be destroyed, that's how he started paring down his debt.
But Jio has done well, no?
So they will do. They would do.
It's good for India.
So it is not good. So if you say an ARPU 4 years ago when Jio had done a blanket 0% billing, 0 rupees billing, only data billing, all the players went bankrupt. Right. Okay. Because most of the consumers went from all those 7 telecom companies to Jio. Okay. And now you compare the ARPU now and over there, it has sequential increase of more than 5%. So what he has done 4% by spending the money, he has actually garnered more customer and more cash flows for him. So हमें उसने फोकट में नहीं खरीदा. अभी हम उतना ही दे रहे जो हम लोग 4 साल पहले दे रहे थे.
4-5 साल
खुल के बात कर रहे हैं. But now what data consumption is आज 2.5 GB के ऊपर आपका डेटा जाता है किसी भी एक दिन के ऊपर. आपका 2.5 GB के ऊपर डेटा कंज्यूम ही होता है सर अगर आप जाओगे तो. Which was not the case 4 years ago.
You're paying but very high data costs.
But from a customer perspective, we are still paying high.
Okay.
I think in the whole world, India is the cheapest.
Yes, it is the cheapest. But from an India perspective, it is high. If you say to go to Canada, it would be much more costlier than India, 10x costlier than India. Okay. But what Reliance has done is, Reliance ने क्या बोला कि मेरा जो नजदीक का जो कंप्यूटर है ना, मैं उसे आपको 1 पैसा सस्ता दे रहा हूँ, मैं 2 पैसा सस्ता दे रहा हूँ मैं. That's how we broke the market. Yes. But then what happened? The whole market crashed. The whole telecom market crashed.
वो bankrupt कर दिया.
Bankrupt कर दिया. Now Z का अगर V का Vodafone Idea का अगर स्पेक्ट्रम फी अगर नहीं पे किया, गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट टेलिंग कि मेरा स्पेक्ट्रम फी और इंटरेस्ट जो भी रहेगा ना, मैं इक्विटी में कन्वर्ट करता हूँ. दिस मींस ही हैज लिटरली फाइनेंस इंडियन मनीज फॉर ऑल द ग्रुप कंपनीज. That's a long-term game which he has played. And that is where actually we are being fooled about. Which the Competition Commission of India or neither a 3 market, 4 market.
No, done. We have discussed. You have said I have a lot of privy to lots of things, but I said watch on Monday. It's better. The chairman mentioned it on demerger, and we also mentioned about the co-lending partnership. You will know about evening. But this is the real finer and lighter moments which come.
Is it still value? Risk reward is in favor in buying Sony?
I think yes, you can.
What about Geo Finance?
Anil, Geo Finance.
But risk is
difficult call. Having lower upper circuit. Every now and then it's having lower circuits and upper circuits.
I am glad you mentioned about lower circuits. So first day people are wondering what will happen, right? First will happen, but after it happened, everybody woke up and calls started coming. Lower circuit kabhi band hoga?
Lower circuit, I am told. I have no.
Band ho gaya. It opened yesterday.
Yeah.
It had to open before 28th. It had to open before 28th. It opened. But point is, after 28th, what happens?
28.
He mentioned about, we are waiting for you. He mentioned about, just mention Anil about his lower circuits.
How do you predict this happens only very
So point is, it has opened lower circuit and some smart people invested yesterday. The most bold and most aggressive people, they bought yesterday, thinking 28th ke baad good glory days will come again. Now we don't know what will happen after 28th. Just watch.
I haven't.
No, we had gone in earlier sessions. We had discussed whether it will be 50 rupees or 200 rupees also. And we had detailed discussion on that, right? So point is, we track now to after Monday what happens. Point is, we will know, let the index selling be over.
Yeah.
Index selling will be over. 28. No, I think the date is getting extended to 33 days. 3 days after the circuit opens. So let the index selling be over.
Yeah,
those who have to sell by force, by regulatory norms, let them sell. No, it's not over. Index has not started. 1 second. There are some people, there are many index funds, they will sell only on that day. They want to minimize tracking error. It's not over. They have not started selling only. On that day, that last day when it gets removed from that index. It's getting extended. Every day new things are coming. Now point is, you don't know, Monday again upper circuit, lower circuit will come. So that date will change. We don't know that. So let the index selling, because they will sell on that day. Then you will know also some of them announce X $1 million of sell, FIS will sell. Now index funds are both India and abroad. Both. So there is a separate bifurcation of that. Yes, one mutual fund, that Hero, were quite aggressive, he bought. They have the regulatory norms. Point is, this index funds, many of them have regulatory norms. So they are waiting for that. And here, point is, this confusion is good because you have to deep dive and find out. This circuit things, index selling, all these are new things to come to us. Now you mentioned about asset management. Mandar said the best possible thing, long way. He said the long way to go. It's not easy. Point is, long way has started. Abhi to take off hone wala hai. After the index selling is over. So these are the best insights which has come from Mandar actually. This is what happens, best things of our open house. Lots of fresh ideas come. and quite interesting. So, yeah.
When you cross 6 minutes.
And I think he has decided that day of the next meeting, I think they have decided, you mentioned that. I think it's September 16th you are mentioning, so people know.
Okay.
I think you and Yogesh decided, no, the next meeting.
Third Saturday.
But he has decided.
Pre-Ganpati.
First time,
Third Saturday will be working Saturday.
Second will I do. Because fourth majority people won't be able to come.
It has to be second Saturday.
पता नहीं कि मैं
Third, fourth, actually people may not come because of Ganpati fourth.
They decided actually.
Because we decided Ganpati. We decided because of Ganpati, but so okay, we'll announce it.
Yeah, it's declared. It's already pricing.
Okay, so that will be announced.
Okay. So Yogesh को बोलना, ये लोग अपन प्रोजेक्ट को पैसा देके खरीदा है.
I'll request now our Yogesh Satpute to give a formal vote of thanks. After that, we can continue our discussions offline.
Yeah, so thank you very much. It was really a great and insightful session. In addition to the insights, we got to know many new things as well. I request everyone to take active part. The date of the next meeting will be announced soon, along with the names of the speaker. I once again thank to both of our speakers to share their knowledge. I thank Anupam also for his contribution, and Manoj sir. Thanks to everyone for attending, participating actively.
Thank you. Great work. I still don't remember the name of your company. और नंबर तो है भाई. कार्ड दो ना, कार्ड दो.
कार्ड लेके नहीं आया.
क्यों? अभी वो क्रेडिट फेयर बोलते याद हो गया.
John Tata Business Hub.
हाँ?
John Tata.
Which company?
Tata Business Hub.
Updates आते हैं.
Employer, which company?
Tata Business Hub.
Tata Sons. As what?
Strategic partnership.
Congrats, yeah. Oh. Announcement. Can I share? Let me share. Yeah. So, introduction, we mentioned a young person, right? First, he's a part of Tata Strategic Group. Now, it's a really wonderful thing. Yes. Really wonderful.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks. अच्छा वो अभी मीटिंग में it happened. Add some inches to your eyes. करने का
981087.
Nice to meet you. Let me take it.
But it's a very interesting.
My friend Mr. Ravi Shevde, Mr. Sharma.
He's a starting member of JV Nagar, one of the
You know him before. So you told him.
I know him partner. Right? We are associates.
Okay. Give me a card.
Actually.
Also सोया ही था.
हम बोल गए. I'll share.
Last month.
There are a lot of.
Have you been added in the WhatsApp group? Just been added?
I don't know. I just enrolled myself.
Okay. So इसको बता देना. Next 2-3 days you will be a part of that. They'll add you. This is that Kolaba wala BP Shah. Another BP Shah.
Yeah. कोई ना कोई
Praveen Shah.
टाटा के साथ शिफ्ट हो. But अभी फिलहाल
बेटा अनूप शाह है वो ही नहीं.
अभी तो कोई
टाटा जब नियो शुरू हुआ था तो that is what अभी कार्ड चल रहा है ना तो बैंक का कोविड कार्ड तो we know all those insights and other things that is super app हम लोग बनाने का
तो टाटा न्यू जो है ना that is B2C
right
what Tata Nexark is B2B that is how it is segregated
problem बस टाटा का यही रहता है although same thing with this they take too much of time and they don't take decision आप बैठते हैं ना सामने में तो कोई डिसाइड ही नहीं करता but ultimately
I have made many questions सब आंसर हो गए
नहीं वो बड़ा कॉन्ग्लोमेरेट है ना इवन फॉर मी टू टॉक टू टाटा स्टील
मेन प्रॉब्लम है रहता डिसीजन कौन लेगा जिससे पूछा वो हाँ बोल रहा है ना बोल रहा है
करेक्ट नोबडी पुट्स जस्ट
तो फॉल्ट करोगे ना तो लैपटॉप के बीच पे रख लो तो वेयर इज योर ऑफिस
So, CST स्टेशन के उधर ही है बॉम्बे हाउस में टाटा का मेन हब है उसके बाजू में
अच्छा
तभी टेक प्लेटफॉर्म बना रहे
अरे मुझे लगा
बोलने उसको